Hello there, Patreon members.
Oh, yeah. Hi. I forgot we're live. Hi, Patreon members. I forgot to ask how I sound. I feel like in the last episode, my mic was weird.
You sound really good to me now.
Okay.
So
thank you.
I guess.
Thank
I guess I just didn't notice anything last episode.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You sound pretty clear right now to me.
Sometimes to you it sounds great, but then when I listen to the recording, like I feel like it sounds awful. I don't know why.
I mean, I also do listen to a little bit of our audio podcast whenever it comes out, and I didn't notice anything, different or bad or anything.
All right. Well, then maybe it's my high standards.
Yeah, you're just being too harsh on yourself.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it.
But hello, Patreon members. We got Mark in the chat right now. How's it going? Look, now that you're in the chat, I can show you my new display.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to get one of those in my new toy room.
Yeah, it's perfect except for the fact that I have a General Grievous hot toy that I'm paying off, and he's too tall. And
you can have him squished down, just like have him hunched down.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him like really hunched forward, but I really want to do like the 4 lightsabers. But I'll probably have him hunch forward, walk in or something with a cape. I think it'll still look good either way. And then I was like, I can just have him on top of the display. But then I also don't have enough room for Grievous between the ceiling and the shelf. So, but then I was thinking,
he's so tall.
And then I also ordered, the really, really battle damaged Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that one too.
Yeah. And how tall is that one?
Well, the problem with that one is it comes on a base that's probably like this tall. Mm-hmm. And plus the cape, I'm getting the one that has it's like the plastic, it's like the sculpted cape for the Vader helmet. And that like goes pretty far above Vader's head. So I'm going to have to not have him on that riser and then have my normal Vader on that riser and have the cape. So I'm just cooked, man. I'm cooked. I'm going to need another glass shelf that has bigger, gaps, I guess, for some of these. But we'll talk about Hot Toys a little later on. I actually do need to go ahead and pull up, because I need to pull up our emails for our email segment, and then I need to pull up emails for the reveals we're going to talk about. But while I do that, why don't you tell everybody how much you made selling. Well, maybe not the number of made each one, but how many figures you sold and got rid of.
I feel like now I was thinking about it. We could talk about it during fine editions.
That's
some more.
I don't have
some more
a
fine
single
subtraction.
fine edition.
I have one. Yeah,
Well,
one that I
guess
haven't packed anyway.
I have, I normally show off like the 3D prints I do, and I have that Jedi Temple, but I really
you should definitely show that off.
Yeah, but I want to do it because I ordered the new filament so I can get that middle floor piece.
Oh, so you want to wait till? Okay,
That's why
all right, I get it.
I haven't posted it on like TikTok or Instagram yet because I'm waiting for it to be complete. So I'll probably do that one.
Sure.
But we did what Black Series was revealed recently, the Tactical Agent, and I got to pull up the pictures for the 2-pack. Oh, the 2-pack. The droids 2-pack.
Mark wants to know if the Grievous is the one that doesn't come with the crotch grabber thing.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if he does or not. Like the stand,
Yeah, their stands have like the little cuppy.
Yeah. It like
just kind of gently cups the crotch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it does or not. Maybe it would be too distracting.
I feel like my Rex didn't, for whatever reason. It came with like a flight. Was it Rex or was it Mando?
My 501st clone came with like pinchers, and it's really annoying. I much prefer the crotch grab because you can hide it a lot easier.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it came with pinchers. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like a really.
Because I think it came with pinchers because you can do a flying pose because he came with a jetpack.
Yeah, it did come with a jetpack, so that actually checks out. But
yeah,
I
think that's actually why my Mandalorian came that way too.
Probably, yeah. I actually need to check out to see if maybe I can take the pinchers off. Maybe
maybe you could just buy like a just the cuppy part from like Amazon or something just to
true
or like eBay.
Did Hasbro not email out the Droid 2?
I don't get shit from Hasbro.
I got the email for the ISB Trooper. Hang on, sometimes they get hidden in promotions. What was that called?
The KX
Droid for Krennic.
It's an Amazon exclusive, isn't it?
The Droids 2-pack. I couldn't tell you because.
I mean, I could because
Did you order it? I got it.
Hell yeah, I ordered it.
Right, I guess I'll just share the pictures from Instagram. That'll be anyways.
Or do that. I was gonna say you can go to Amazon and share the pictures there.
Oh, true. Yeah. But then you all can see all the weird, sex toys I'm buying on Amazon and all the suggested figures and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I'll just share it on Amazon because then or on Instagram because there's other things on my profile I can share from there as well.
That's fair.
Like the price increase and stuff. But I'll pull up Sideshow whenever we talk about. Oh, were there anything like from other lines you wanted to talk about in the Outer Rim segment?
No, I don't think today. I don't think I got anything today. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I want to talk about. Nothing.
All right.
No, that's actually not true. That's not true. That's not true. Yes. And I'm going to pre-order this guy while we're here.
Oh, what is it? I'll add it to the show notes so we don't forget.
Okay. I'll send you the link here. Let's see. Private chat. Boom. There you go.
Private chat. Big bad. Oh.
Right?
Yeah, that guy's pretty sick.
He's like if Skeletor and Darth Vader had a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, this is insane. I feel like this is how Kylo Ren sees himself when he looks in the mirror.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yeah, save that. Save that comment for the show.
All right, what line is this from?
It's called Brutal Realm. It was a Kickstarter.
Okay, because I was wondering, I was like, is this a Mythic Legion?
No, it's not
It
Mythic
kinda looks
Legions.
like,
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, it's a similar vein, but it's not Mythic Legions. It's its own line.
Okay, yeah, this is actually really cool. So we'll talk about that. So I'll add Brutal Realm thing.
General Grimskull.
Brutal Realm. What's his? All right, perfect. Yeah, this thing is actually really cool. You're gonna have to pay that tariff surcharge from Big Bad, you know.
If there are tariffs still, I don't know. It depends on when they get it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. It's so
Sure.
up and down.
And that makes it worse, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, let me pull up our emails. We only have we got 3 emails now. Mark coming in clutch. With
Yeah, Mark came in clutch. We got that email, Mark.
Yep, we did get that. All right, so I'm ready to go live. We can get this show on the
let's do
road.
it. Before we go live,
Okay, what's up?
thanks to each and every one of you guys
Yes.
for being here.
Shout out Patreon members.
Shout out to Patreon members.
Every time I look at my hot toy display, I thank our Patreon members. And
Don't be like that. Don't be like that. Don't make it like they're buying your toys. That's weird.
I mean, it helps. You know, they don't do it alone. Like it's not, it's not the
still
only.
weird. It's still weird.
I'm just showing gratitude because I probably wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be doing both Black Series and Hot Toys if it weren't for our gracious Patreon members. You know, so
Still weird. You're like,
Is it?
hey, thanks. Yes. You're basically thanking people for buying your toys for you. It makes me feel weird for sure.
well, I mean, at the same time, we do create content, and if they appreciated that, but
I guess.
so, but we really appreciate it. No matter what we spend our earnings on. I mean, we do spend the money on the podcast too, like that.
Oh, we definitely do. I do.
and,
StreamYard is
yeah.
expensive. Not as expensive as StreamYard wanted it to be, but still expensive.
Yeah, because they tried to up it like another $50 or something.
Yeah, it was like $90. Like, no, thank you. And there are some things on that $90 tier I wanted, but like not for $90.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's go live. Hi there. Welcome to Black Series Cantina, episode 96. And in this episode, guess what? Zach is here.
Of course, as always.
And you know what we're going to do, Zach?
What are we going to do?
We're going to talk about Black Series figures because that's what the podcast is about. So,
We do have a couple Black Series figures to talk about.
one or two. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 or 2. We also have a big show for you today. A nice, let's see, Andor later on. Tales of the Underworld. So you can look forward to us talking about that. So if you're listening in the car or wherever you're listening to this podcast, we have a lot of stuff to get to. But first, of course, I am Zach. That's Mike. Back for episode 96 of Black Series Cantina. And Mike, you know what happens tomorrow night?
Oh, tomorrow night I'll be at Disneyland. So no, what happens tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, my house gets invaded by the Out of the Basement crew.
Oh man.
I know, right? So
I was gonna say this time last year I was hanging out at your house, but it wasn't because it was in October.
Well, it was in October, but it's so weird how quickly it's coming back. I mean, I'm not upset at it, because it just makes for another. I prefer if it's in May, anyways.
Do you?
Yeah, better
I
weather.
kind of liked October, but sure. I didn't think the October weather was that bad.
I mean, it was fine, but also like May. It's always the big Star Wars month because Celebration and all the movie anniversaries, just May is like a Star Wars month. And I felt like for a Star Wars specific con, for the most part.
Is it though?
They're trying to do a Turtles thing.
Is it though?
But at least all the vendors are mostly Star Wars figures. And
That's
stuff
true.
like that,
Mostly.
which is nice.
That or that one guy that wants to sell you his books.
Yeah, and at every con, there's always going to be a couple vendors that you're like, I really
Why are you here?
not interested. Yeah, it's like,
Why are you
how many
here?
sales are you going to get at a Star Wars toy convention?
Yeah.
But it's going to be a great time. Mike, we are going to miss you this year, of course.
Yeah,
But
even
it makes
if
sense with the move and all that. That you wouldn't.
I mean, it's a convenient excuse. Yeah, instead of going to Tennessee Toy Con, Mike decided to quote unquote move. Oh, I'm so busy moving. You don't know her. She doesn't go to school here.
What do you mean? You don't want to go hang out with Star Wars Theory? I'm going to be first in line for an autograph. Actually,
Oh my
I'm
God.
I'm gonna mail you an autograph from Star Wars.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Let's stay positive. If you don't have anything positive to say, let's move on.
That is true, but it is going to be a great time still. Looking forward to hanging out with everybody. Monday Night Figure Ball out of the basement.
Sure, I'm honestly going to miss hanging out with you guys. It was a blast hanging out last year. Will Bond's
the best part of the con.
That's the best part of any con, really. I don't care about seeing stuff. Like, you can see stuff on the internet, you can see stuff at home, and it's not really different. It's being there with your boys or people, I guess, depending on their preferred genders. I don't know, but it's mostly boys. Let's be honest. We have a Sausage Fest heavy group.
I wonder what the ICC con ratio is. It's got to be
really am curious.
1 to 9 in the favor of men, right?
Honestly, it felt that way.
Maybe 2 to 8 or something.
I mean, there were some girls there for sure. Like, there was. I feel like there are some people, and it mostly skews to girls, where just cosplay is their thing, and they'll take any excuse to cosplay, and I think that's fun. Like, that's a fun creative outlet, and it's always fun seeing what they come up with and how they do it. And of course, I mean, it's not just girls; there's a bunch of guys that do it too. I don't want to like pigeonhole a gender here, but like most of the big cosplayers I know are girls, but that's probably, I don't know. I'm not a paragon of knowing everyone, so don't even listen to me. Why are you listening to me? Why am I on a podcast? I don't even know. Let's move on.
Yeah, so looking forward to ICCCon. If you're going to be at the con and if you see me, be sure to say hello. I would really appreciate that. That'd be great. It's always good every year talking to people who watch other shows and listen to us, so it's always a good time. And I'm going to be on the podcast stage Saturday at 5:45 p.m. local time. So 5:45.
It's not first thing in the morning this time?
No, thankfully we'll have time to recover.
that was the worst. Like 10 o'clock in the morning, recovering from being so hungover.
And we were in the hotel across the street, so we had to walk up that big ass hill.
It was the worst. Yeah.
So luckily, a later time, which I think is going to be nice, but hopefully we're not like all tired from doing all Friday, Saturday, and then Saturday night, doing. But I think we'll have enough energy.
I think you guys can handle it. Yeah.
I think I'll probably. I'm assuming there's going to be 4 mics, so probably going me, Justin, Nate, and then 4th spot Will Bond. I think that'll be a good group to do this.
Is he your mic replacement there? Mic placement?
Yeah. He'll be the
backup mic.
The mic substitute there.
There you go.
But yeah, so if you're going to ICCCon, definitely look for me and say hi, and it'd be great to talk about whatever pickups we find. I'm hunting for the Coruscant Guard hot toy.
Coruscant Guard. All right.
That's what I'm going for, because they have the new Sidious coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how good that'll look in the Hot Toys display. I'm also
some other things. 2 or just 1?
Probably just 1. If I'm getting 2 of a clone, it's going to be the 501st Trooper first. I have to prioritize that, but just 1 Coruscant Guard. Hot Toys, I don't feel the need to, maybe I'll get a second one day. But
I feel like you could track down a Royal Guard.
They are in episode 3.
I was going to say they're in episode 3. Yoda bodies 2 of them.
Yeah.
He just slams against the wall.
I'm already cooked enough on the Hot Toys front. You don't have to get me even further burnt by adding in Royal Guards.
That's fair.
But then also maybe I'll find the SBD hot toy. I'll kind of be looking for that one. And Black Series wise, this might surprise you. Oh, this is really going to surprise you actually. And maybe our listeners. There's not a whole lot for Black Series that I don't have that I really want. There's a couple small
That's
things,
the problem.
sure.
Yeah.
But if I see the Order 66 pack for a decent price, I might consider it.
Okay. What if I sell you the Order 66 pack for a decent price?
Wait, you have it and you don't want it?
No. I honestly almost threw away the box and like gave away the toys.
Wow.
But I saved the box knowing that there's someone out there who would like the box and all the figures in it.
Yeah, I've never had the other ones that they haven't re-released in that.
Oh man. Yeah, I basically took all of the 1.0 trooper molds off my shelf. They just I just don't like them. Like it's just so bad. I just don't like it.
What I have been doing in my collection lately, so the actual army is mostly like the 2.0 and 3.0 because they look very similar. But since the 1.0s are so specifically, molded after the CGI model from the movies, those are going to be the ones that are on 3D prints. And I think that's a good way to keep them looking the same on the shelf. And then the 1.0s will be on the 3D prints. So we'll have a conversation.
We'll talk about it. I mean, last time I said I'd sell something to you, you ended up finding it at the con anyway. So maybe I'm good luck just by offering that.
What was that other one?
Oh, it was the Princess Leia Obi-Wan because I have that too, and I was like, I'll sell it to you, and then you found it at the con anyway for a good price.
Oh yeah. I mean, but hey, I can imagine that somebody at the con wouldn't want to let the Order 66 pack go for what you would probably let it go for. So.
Probably. I'm doing like bottom of the basement pricing for my blowout pricing for my toys. I have too many toys and they are too expensive to move. So I have been just blowing through my toy collection. I've got bins of toys in the garage that I haven't seen since I moved in. Like I moved in here 4 years ago and they've just sat in the garage in those bins for 4 years. In fact, and this is a true story, I accidentally left a can of beer in one of the bins.
I saw the Death Trooper.
Yeah, someone, one of my subscribers from my YouTube channel was a brewer, and they put all their brewers' faces on their beer cans, and he sent it to me. I'm like, oh, that's neat. Like, I like it. So I saved it, and I put it in a bin, and I totally forgot about it. So when I was going through my toys, I was like, what is all this sticky mess? And I realized, it's this can of beer that's definitely exploded. And it was like all over. I had to give every toy in there like a deep clean, like soak in the tub kind of thing. And that Death Trooper, it was the Disney, those Disney 12-inch ones that came out around the same time as the Elite series. It was the Death Trooper from around Rogue One time. I got it on clearance from the Disney store, but it was just too gone because it had fabric on it. So it was all moldy and it was too gone. Like that just went in the trash.
So you had the Night Trooper from Ahsoka before you even knew it.
Basically, yeah. I did, yeah.
Did you see what I commented on your post?
I did. Yeah,
that's an easy way to weather a figure. Just leave it.
It is. It's just also like I felt so like I put like a mask on and I was using gloves because like it was definitely like black mold kind of situation, and I used bleach in there and like I don't know. I'm like I don't know if this is good for the plastic, but it's bad for the mold, and I know that.
Yeah, there's some chemical that you shouldn't have breathed in for sure.
Oh, yeah. I might die. Who knows? I might have made mustard gas in my bathtub.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get arrested now for just creating some crazy drug. Mike's Breaking Bad all of a sudden.
I'm over here making chemicals in my tub. No, I mean, it worked out. But it was one of those things like, oh, man, I should have not left that in there. But I have found a bunch of cool stuff that I thought I lost. So that's kind of fun. Cool. It's been a fun thing. But then I also turned around and sold a lot of it. So it's been a fun couple days here going through my old toys and being like, I forgot I owned this. And if I forgot I owned it, I guess I didn't care in the first place. So it's gone.
Yeah. Also, I was going to say, since you're selling so many things, preparing for the move, and you sold a bunch of stuff this past week and all that, and you have so much more to sell, this would be the perfect time to go to ICCCon, because
I know
Justin is bringing a bunch of figures.
Yeah.
You know, Wilbon's bringing a bunch of tubs. We're going to do a big, and I think Mr. Coffee's even bringing a bunch of stuff.
You doing a room sale?
We're doing a big room sale.
Oh, man.
And that would have been perfect. But I'm a little worried how much room there's going to be, because everybody's saying, oh, I'm bringing like 3 tubs of things. You know, I'm going to hopefully, but they're going to have like $5 bins. I think Mr. Coffee from Monday Night Figure Ball said he's going to have a $5, $10, and $15 Black Series bin. So, and if you said you're selling stuff at the bottom of the barrel too, then it would have been perfect.
Oh yeah, it actually would have been perfect. But you know, I also would have to fly those bins there, and that's not going to happen. Selling them is one of the reasons why I'm doing that here, so I don't have to move it.
An extra carry-on and just put them all loose in a backpack or something.
Oh God, no!
But that would have been awful to carry around.
Terrible. They're so heavy and they just slosh all over the place.
So let's get into fine additions for this next conversation.
Yeah.
Fine addition to my collection.
And I don't have any fine additions right now. Basically, a lot of the money that I allocate to collecting is going towards stuff I'm paying for Hot Toys that are coming in the future. And then trying to save a little bit of money for the con that's coming up this weekend. But I know Mike has been getting rid of a lot of things, so we'll do some fine attractions this evening.
Well, first, I do have a fine addition. I did pick up the Dagon Gera and BX Battle Droid from Amazon. So I did get that. And I'm kind of glad, because so when I'm packing up my Black Series this time, usually every time I've moved in the past, I've saved all their boxes, and I've just been putting them back in their boxes, putting those boxes in tubs, and just moving the tubs, and that was easy. The problem is that was 4 years ago, and the last 4 years have been nuts in terms of like how many figures have come out. So that's just not feasible. It's too much. So I tossed all the boxes. I still have some downstairs, but for the most part, the boxes are gone. I condensed all of my Black Series figures down to like, I think 2.5 tubs worth of Black Series now. So that's been kind of nice, but it is weird just seeing all my collection just in like 2 tubs. Yeah. But in the process of doing that, any Jedi, I've been removing the lightsaber out of there, and I've broken 2 of them just by pulling them out. Like I didn't drop them or anything. I'm just like boop, and then it just snaps. And Dagon Gera, unfortunately, was actually one of those. One of his lightsabers snapped. So I'm kind of glad to get this second one here. I might order another second one and then replace the lightsaber and then return it back saying, hey, this came broken. I don't know. We'll see. But, you know, it's a process. But one of the nice things, like I said, I did have another fine addition, and that is this nice little Porg that I thought I lost. This Porg is my absolute favorite Porg, because it's like the screaming face Porg, and the only way to get this one is in the Smuggler's Run Disney multi-pack from Galaxy's Edge. That was the only way to get this face on this Porg. So I was happy to find him because I thought I lost him. He was my favorite droid Porg to put in like pictures and stuff. So I was super happy when he popped back up. But yeah, that's all I've got. Other than I don't own any G.I. Joes anymore. I have sold totally out. I am out. I'm not just not collecting them anymore. As of yesterday, I own 0 G.I. Joe figures. I've sold them all. They're gone.
Were there any specific ones that were hard to get rid of?
Oh no, because I sold them as a lot. I said, if you take one, you're taking them all. I didn't part it out.
So were there were any that you were like, maybe I should keep this one because I really, really love it?
No, the only ones that I cared about were pretty recent, and I figure if I really want them, I'll just buy them again. It's not a big deal, honestly. Like the new retro Duke and Scarlet and stuff. But like, I don't know. it's one of those things. Like I was starting to spread myself too thin with the different lines that I collect, and of all the ones that I collect, G.I. Joe was at the bottom. It was the one I cared about the least, from Star Wars to Mythic Legions to all Transformers. It was the one that, it's cool. I'm glad it exists, but I'm just out. Don't care anymore.
Are you selling anything else, or just out of the GI?
Oh, well, not totally, but I do have about 5 bins down in my garage of just toys from, like, because it's like 10 years worth of collecting, maybe more than that. I started heavily collecting. Yeah, it's about 10 years in like 2014. Heavily collecting. So it's 10 years worth of just accumulation of like Power Rangers and Transformers and stuff. So Marvel Legends, all from like the 2014, 15, 16, 17 era, I just usually have no interest in. So I'm selling a lot of those.
Yeah. That's definitely understandable. People, collecting habits change.
They do.
Move on from lines.
Yeah. And it's just so expensive to move them. They charge you by weight. And like a tub of action figures is heavier than you think. And it takes up a lot of space.
It's a lot of plastic.
It is. It's too much plastic. So yeah, I'm happy to maybe help someone else's collection out. That's kind of how I've been seeing it. My shelves are completely devoid of toys that I care about now. They're all gone. They're all packed up if I'm keeping them. The only ones you see back here are like box stuff that I've received over the years that I just never opened. And a lot of these are going to my wife's like friend, like her teacher friends have kids. And I'm like, I'm going to make their day. Like, here's just a bunch of like unopened like Transformers, and so there's like a He-Man in there and stuff. I'm like, they're gonna like this stuff. I know they're gonna like this stuff.
What's the white box on the here, like the second from the bottom shelf?
Oh, that's a Lego set. That's
Lego
set. That's the Marauder ATST from the season 1 of The Mandalorian.
Oh, nice.
It goes for it goes for like $40 on eBay. So I'm like, I don't really care. Like if some kid wants to build it, that's fine. Yeah, I bought it when it came out,
good.
And just never built it. And now I'm like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want this on my shelf. This is not the kind of thing I care about anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get into, before we jump into listener emails, let's do a quick plug, because we have a relatively new merch store. And I got to say, the merch from this store, it's pretty good. I think it's much better than Teespring. So if you're somebody who wants some Black Series Cantina merch, we have hats, beanies, hoodies, long sleeve t-shirts.
What's the name of the merch store?
It is blackseriescantina.myspreadshop.com. And I think I mentioned this on our last episode, but I priced this stuff to where we don't make a ton of money off of it. Like, literally, I think the highest we get per, and probably like the more expensive item, like a hoodie, it's like $3. So me and Mike get like $1.50, each. So it's really not priced for that. It's just priced kind of cheap, so you all can, represent, the podcast if you really want to, and like spread the word, which we really appreciate. But if you want to support us at an even deeper level, you can join the Patreon. There's a tier for every budget: $2, $5, $11.38, which gets you access to join us live. And then the VIP tier, which we do a VIP hangout every month. And then we got to do one for May. I'll probably schedule one for some weekend after the con. But so sign up for that. Anybody can join. Just go check that out on patreon.com/blackseriescantina. But all right, we have some listener emails. Keep the email segment alive. We're a little light today. That's not a bad thing. We have 3 emails, but, we're cutting it a little close. We got to keep it alive. Shoot us emails, blackseriescantina@gmail.com, and get your question or comment read on the show. Let's see what we have first. This is from RJ Bresh. Hey, guys, this is not a Black Series topic, but just a Star Wars question. We just had another May the 4th and another couple installments of Tales of series. I think the Asajj story was one of the best yet. There's now 6 stories so far. How do you rank them? So a little later on in the episode, we're going to talk about Tales of the Underworld and Andor. So we'll get into spoilers then. But I guess doing a quick ranking, I have to say I was not really a fan of the Asajj episodes almost at all. It might be my least favorite one of the 6 they've done.
Wow.
And I know RJ has the total opposite view. He says it was one of the best ones, and we'll get into that a little later, but I think Dooku, Cad Bane, probably, and then let's see, we have Ahsoka, Morgan, and Barriss. I would go like Dooku, Cad Bane, Ahsoka, Barriss, and Morgan, and then Asajj, probably.
See, I would put Asajj over probably Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, I think they're both down there at the bottom somewhere, in my opinion. What's your favorite one?
I mean, I feel like Dooku is the best one so far, and I think what's cool about Dooku's is you just get a lot of the backstory from times that we hadn't really heard about, and I find that really interesting, like with the Yaddle stuff, and you know, like him before, like with Qui-Gon as his Padawan, you know, like those are times we've heard about but we haven't really seen, and that I found the most interesting for sure.
Absolutely. Dooku is by far, in my opinion, the best one and the most important one, because what happens in those episodes directly impacts what we see in the films.
Yeah.
Multiple films it impacts. But the rest of them, there's really no need for most of them. And trust me, we're going to talk about I got a lot to say on the Asajj one
Yeah.
later on. But thank you for the email, RJ. Next email is from Jeff Esplin. He says, I tried ordering more of the episode 3 20th to get better copies, so I ordered 3 of each thinking I might have better luck. Turns out Walmart is able to ship 6 in one large bag. Pretty wild. Was planning to just bring them back to the store to return them. I was shocked they would send 6 in one bag. And
what a way to find out. Like, what's Walmart's limit? Turns out 6.
Yeah, and he sent the picture. He sent us picture, and it's literally a giant Walmart bag full of the episode 3 anniversary figures.
They gotta be doing this on purpose. They're like, take this, you nerds.
Yeah, I
like they
feel
gotta
bad
be doing it on
'cause
purpose. Yeah,
I kind of feel bad because mine were delivered in a giant box with a bunch of the bubbled plastic to make it have some padding in there. But I'm like a premium shill, so. They knew they had to come in clutch on the
guess I'm not.
The figures for me, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't care. Like that Mike case, bag, or 2 small box, and we're gonna shove it in the box.
Yeah, really cram it in there, and
he's really gonna cram it in. Yeah.
Next email comes from Mark. He says, anyone else have an issue with how often the Jedi lose their lightsabers? They're supposed to be samurai-esque. I have to imagine that samurai's swords are his lifeblood, his most prized possessions. But some Jedi change them like they change their socks. You'd think they would take better care of them. Also, found a Sebastian Coke bottle. Jesus Christ. I hope you threw it in the trash. Had to pick up the goat. Love the show. Look forward to every other Thursday, and have a blast at ICCCon, Zach. I hope to make it next year. Mark, if you make it next year, that would be awesome. But yeah, so that is a reference to. I didn't share it on Fine Editions, but I guess I'll go ahead and share my screen for the people watching live and the replay. I hope I make it next year because I'll be a lot closer. Yeah, that is true. I found a Hayden named Coke bottle, and funny story behind this. I was just at my Speedway buying a drink for myself for the day, and then I was in the checkout line and they had this bin right by it, and I was just kind of glancing and I saw Luke, and I was like, oh, it's Luke. And then I picked it up, looked at it, set it back down, and then I saw it was HA, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, there's no chance that's Han. Because I thought, like, Luke and Han, like, what are the chances they're doing, like, character names? I was like, there's no shot it's Han.
This is Padme. That's so crazy.
Right?
Yaddle?
Yaddle.
Glup Shitto.
That would honestly go hard if it didn't art.
That would go way hard. Yeah.
But I grab it and turn it over, and it said Hayden. I was like, there's no freaking way that I randomly just found a Hayden one. And then, I thought I set it back down. I bought my stuff at Speedway. Then I sat down in my car and then said, damn, I need that Coke bottle. Walked back into Speedway, grabbed it and bought it. And now it's It's sitting in my fridge. That's going to be a crispy Coke when I open it. I don't know. When do you think I should crack this open? Do I take it to ICC Con? Do I say
I'm going to give Justin $10 to drink that sometime during the night.
Oh my gosh. You cannot do that to me.
Oh no. Whenever you just don't expect it, you're going to come down into your basement and find him watching The Lord of the Rings, sipping on your Hayden Coke.
They're going to be pissing in it. But yeah, that's what Mark was referencing in his email. So appreciate the emails, everybody. blackseriescantina@gmail.com if you want to get an email read on the show. But that's it for our, intro to the podcast stuff. Now we can jump into some news. Oh, we do have a quick chat by, did he change his name or no?
No, that's the same
Dante.
name. Yeah,
All right,
Dante
we
Bayo.
from Dante Bayo. Zach is going to sing I Want to Share a Coke commercial. They should put me in a Coke commercial with like a Star Wars Coke commercial. I would do it. I don't see why I wouldn't. Esteban, that's right. Yeah. I'm fairly bad with names, so you're going to have to comment that like every show. All right, let's jump into some news.
Sorry, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Esteban.
Esteban. All right, well, look, I'm literally from the South. Those types of names are hard for us.
You get your quesadilla.
Yeah, give me. I want it. I want
and your pico de gallo.
I want tortillas with that. And when I order chicken, it's polo
asada.
Yeah. All right, so into the news we go. There was a fiasco with the Walmart MagnaGuard and Ayla Secura pre-order. I hope everybody got them. I'm sure they're still available. I haven't checked in a little bit. If one were to sell out, I'm sure it would have been the MagnaGuard. But whenever Walmart posted them, they didn't post them on time, of course. And then, did you have a hard time at all? I heard it was kind of original, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't have a hard time at all. I didn't even know there was a hard time, honestly.
Yeah, so I remember because I was trying to post affiliate links for it, and then I posted them. I made my post at 1 o'clock or 10 a.m. whenever they went up, and then they didn't. You could see it and you could click on it, but it wouldn't let you add to cart or anything. It would just take you to like an error page. And then I hopped in the shower, got out of the shower. I saw Yak posted they're back up. Tried to add to cart, didn't work. But luckily, they weren't things that sold out, and a little bit later, it ended up working out. So I did get those on pre-order. Some other figures went up for pre-order. The ISB agent and the Director Krennic from Andor with the dress gear with the fancy strap across the chest and torso. That went up for pre-order as well. But all right, now for the big stuff we can have an actual discussion about. How are you feeling about these potential price increases, Mike?
I mean, no one wants a price increase. No one goes, yeah, price increase. Woo! Heck yeah.
What do you mean, Mike? I would love to pay $30 for Black Series without any extra paint or accessories.
Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen at some point. At some point, inflation will always catch up to you, and the price is going to increase. That's why figures, 6-inch figures aren't like $8 like they used to be back in the Toy Biz era days. But
I used to get my WWE figure $7.99 at toy stores when I was a kid for the 6-inch figures.
That's how much 6-inch figures used to cost. And then they went up to, at some point, like creeped up to 12, 15, then 20. And they stayed at 20 for a long time. I feel like the industry was like, this feels right. Mm-hmm. Let's keep them at 20. And then, now we're at 25. The problem is this isn't inflation. This is, and to be honest, to be double honest with you, man, I'm real tired of talking about tariffs. I'm so tired of talking about it. But it's just one of those things that it's always in the news because there's always something happening with it. Like, boom, new tariffs. Boom, just kidding, tariffs are gone. Boom, just kidding, tariffs are back on and now they're higher. Boom, just kidding, now the tariffs are back on, but they're lower. And now, Super 7's laying off people and companies are sending out emails saying, "Hey, we're gonna have to charge more." Hey, we're not charging more, and every situation's so different. And I think the biggest problem with it is that there's just so much uncertainty. Like even if even with like was it yesterday they said, okay, no, the 145% Chinese tariffs are gone. They're down to 30%, which is kind of what they were, I think, before anyway. And it just so like what happens now? Will that change? Because it changed on a dime before. Like the market is just so volatile because nobody knows what to expect. There's no certainty of are you going to have to pay more? Are you not going to have to pay more? Like, are companies going to have to delay figures just to maybe hold out to see if the tariffs go away and then they can ship them in real quick or whatever? And then we'll have a clogging of the supply runs because everyone's ordering things real fast, trying to get them in while the tariffs are low,
And to jump in real quick, that point you just made about companies pausing things they don't know when they should import things or what they want to sell and at what price. Hasbro Pulse, I think now you can pre-order things, but there was like a week or so where Pulse shut down all pre-orders for stuff not released yet.
It was funny because they sent out there was like a notice where it's like, hey, if you want to pre-order these at this price, pre-order them before the 9th. And you'll get them at this price guaranteed. And everyone just assumed that, the prices are going to go up because of tariffs. The prices are going to go up. And there was a lot I saw like 3 different prices of what the prices were going to be after tariffs. It was $32.99 or $29.99 or $26.99 or like it was all over the place.
There was that article that came out that showed a list at Black Series and Marvel Legends $29.99, but that's still not official. So like we'll definitely talk about it like we are now, but we're not reporting anything or anything like that. But the rumor is, I guess the biggest rumor is $29.99.
That's what I would expect, honestly.
Yeah, I do still feel like that's quite a big jump for the Black Series and Marvel Legends specifically, because somebody in a Discord recently, I thought, made a point that was kind of crazy. They said the price increases from 2020, like from $19.99 to $24.99, was worse than what we're getting now, and I couldn't disagree with that any more than I do right now, because if you think about how improved the figures got during that time.
Sure.
Like if you look at the 2014 the 2014 Luke Skywalker in the blue line, you paid $19.99 for that. And then whenever the episode 6 anniversary Luke came out, you paid $24.99. $24.99 for that one. Like the improvement in those two figures is worth probably more than $5.
Absolutely. Right? The face tech, the improved articulation, butterfly joints, like much higher parts count, better. Like the figure is better on every instance. Like there isn't one way that the original figure is better than the newer one.
Yeah. And also thinking about like the original R2 compared to the new R2 that we have.
For sure.
And just thinking of all the improvements that the line made in those years after that really bad era of the red and black box, the dark times of Black Series, as we call them. Even though the price increase wasn't because of improvements in the line, it was because of inflation. It was easier to swallow the price increases, or easy to justify because of how improved the figures were. Right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
because it still it felt good paying $22.99. Of course, it doesn't feel good to pay like a price.
No one wants to pay more.
Yeah, no one wants to pay a price increase. But whenever you're getting a genuinely better product for just $3 more, that's easy to swallow. Sure. And then for $24.99 after inflation, paying $25 compared to $20, it sucks. But looking at how much better the figures are now, I think it's like that works. But now, this price increase is hypothetically, if it happens, we've seen Amazon post a Gale and that Sand Trooper for $31.99.
Yep.
And GameStop is over 30 right now. But this price increase, the figures aren't. I mean, character selection's improving. I think the Black Series is in a great spot, but this price increase isn't coinciding with figures getting increasingly better. It's just coinciding with someone making an executive order saying this company has to pay 145% tariff now.
Well, hold on. No, not you mean the country of Mattel?
Well, yeah, not the company, the country of Mattel.
The country of Mattel.
People need to go watch that clip. It's hilarious how the flub he makes there. But yeah, so that's why the price increase from 2020 makes a lot more sense than the one now. I mean,
it's also statistically, statistically, it is a smaller increase. Going from $20 to $25 is a larger percentage than going from $25 to $30.
Yeah, but $5 at one time just feels big. Because at least with
true, because it was a staggered jump. It was $22.99 and then $24.99, as opposed to going from $19.99 straight to $24.99.
Yep.
That's true. There was that couple years of intermediary.
And also,
pricing in between.
If you look at Black Series over the course, it stayed under inflation. Like I think if the prices at $19.99 when the line came out,
it always stayed under inflation.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think retail would be around 27 or 28 right now.
I think right now inflation had it. Last I checked, before all the tariff increases, inflation had it at $27.
So $27, and that still feels fine. Like there's exclusives that I'll pay $27, like the Target exclusive Battle Damage Vader from the Kenobi show. That was $27.99 Target exclusive. I had no issue paying that whatsoever. I just feel like, hypothetically, at $30 mainline Black Series, I feel like and you've been collecting figures for a long time, so you can. I know you'll have a good thought on this as well. I feel like any figure line will kind of have trouble at $30 price point.
Yes, I think. I mean, there are definitely people where they'll be like, "Oh, I don't care about $5, peasants," or whatever. But I think even someone like me, we're like, yeah, and I guess I don't. But at the same time, it adds up. Like that $5 per figure, if you buy 4 figures, that's an extra $20 that you're paying now that you weren't paying before. Like it adds up real fast. Yeah.
Every 6 figures you buy, that's basically a whole other figure if it were $30.
Yep. It's a build-a-figure, but you're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell?
What's the opposite of a build-a-figure? Like a phantom figure?
Oh, yeah, less paint, less articulation. But yeah, and also I think the potential price increase coinciding with the removal of thigh swivel, I've kind of been getting frustrated on the lack of paint on some of the figure. Not all the figures. I think whenever a Black Series figure hits, it's like there's almost nothing better. You know, I get really hyped for a really good Black Series figure for, $24-25. But sometimes the lack of paint sometimes just bothers me, knowing what it used to be. And maybe that's why I'm getting more into Hot Toys, because have the character specific looks great, and then 6-inch can be my. The
problem is the percentage of cost. Like you're right, the figures are better, but you're going from a $25, let's say $30 figure to a $300 figure. Like
I know
the price increase is bonkers, and so I don't think it's worth the money. Unless you just have a specific character that you absolutely love. Like, I would never stop collecting Black Series in favor of Hot Toys. Like, I just...
Oh, no. Yeah, that's why I'm doing both.
Yeah. Well, and also, I'll be honest. Like, I have a Hot Toys collection. So if anyone's like, oh, Mike just doesn't like Hot Toys. Like no, I do. I love my Hot Toys. But the problem is, I don't feel like you can really play with them. Like they come with a bunch of accessories and stuff, and I'll carefully pose them and get them how I want, but they're not fun to mess with the way a Black Series figure is, or an SH Figure Arts, or a Mofex. Like they are primarily display pieces. They're dolls that you put on display.
Yeah, that's basically what they are. But they just look so incredible in a glass display. And I think, sticking with the episode 3 Hot Toys will will limit what I buy. But then Hot Toys is like, we're going to reveal 3 in one day for you.
Take this.
But yeah, price increases could be on the way. Like, we don't really know.
We don't know. That's the problem. And that's the problem with, like, it's annoying for us. Imagine what it's like being like an independent toy store owner.
Yeah.
Imagine like being Nerdzoic or Toy Snowman, where like this is your livelihood. And they're just like, hey, tariffs are on. Just kidding. Tariffs are off. Just kidding. Now they're higher.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, wait, we're going to pause it for 90 days. But then, so we'll see what happens.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, this isn't good. This isn't a good way to do business for anyone. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, the toy industry has taken a huge hit.
Huge hit.
So we'll see what happens. It's going to be kind of a wild time for sure. But I mean, I'm still in on Black Series, even at $30. Like, I'll be more selective. Like, I mean, I have
for sure
more selective, but at $30, I'll still buy what I really want. A lot of the stuff hits clearance anyways. And at $30, if nothing improves, like if they don't add something extra in, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff hitting clearance, a lot more than it does. But, I'll still buy what I really, really want and get stuff on pre-order.
I will say,
just be more selective.
I will say, I was at Target yesterday or the day before, and I saw the re-release of the Jetta Stormtrooper, which Target had for $31.49 on their website. In store, it was $24.99.
Yeah,
so
that had to be a mistake posting it for. I think they posted it for $36 on the website.
It was something crazy. It was something bonkers. Yeah, and I was like, is this going to be the new price? And then in store, Target's like, nah, it's $25. I'm just kidding, guys.
I wonder how many people actually bought it online for the 36.
Oh, I feel so bad for people that did, honestly.
Because you could probably get it on eBay for like $16.
I was just going to say that. I'm sure you can still get those figures on the aftermarket, and they can't be that high. Like,
yeah,
that's a crazy price. Or I wonder if maybe it is that high, and some guy at Target was looking at like eBay prices or something, and he's like, "Oh man, this one's expensive. That's crazy.
Right, gotta resell it." What, you remember that booth at ICCCon last year that had all those figures for like $50? Like,
yeah, like nuts prices. Like who's paying for these?
And it was literally like figures that we saw at Ollie's 2 days before.
Yes,
$60 Riva, the 2-pack, the carbonized 2-pack with the Royal Guard and TIE Pilot. It was literally there, just insane prices. I put that in my vlog from last year if anybody wants to go check it out. They had Riva for $40. God, what else did they have? Just these figures that go for like $11, $12 for $40, $50 cash. Like, just get out here, dude. But also, one last thing on the price increases. The only frustrating thing about, like, well, maybe not the only. The frustrating thing about Hasbro, if they do increase their price, if the tariffs stop and go down to normal, Hasbro's not lowering the price back, which is really unfortunate. But other companies, like I know specifically Hot Toys, they're charging you a tariff fee, like an extra $20, $24 tariff whenever it ships. So fortunately, that will go away if this whole situation gets resolved. But we all know Hasbro is just going to keep the $27.99 or $29.99.
I hope not. I really would like it if they surprised us and they were just. I'm not expecting it. I'm just saying, if any greedy CEOs out there, for some reason, listening to our podcast, it would be cool if you could reach down into your dead coal of a heart and just be like, you know what? Let's give them a break. We made enough money putting them back down to $25. Like, I would like that. But I will say, as of right now, the prices haven't gone up. So there's nothing to go back down to as of right now.
Yeah.
So
that could change at any moment.
It could. That's the problem, is it could change at any moment. But for right now, the prices haven't gone up.
Yeah. We're still at $24.99.
Hopefully it will stay that way. What they could do is just charge the same price, but then charge an extra fee. like for tariff relief or something like that. And that way they don't have to adjust their pricing. They could just stop charging the tariff relief or whatever fee.
Yeah. All right, so moving on from the price increase chat, there was a Black Series leak, which we had seen leaked before already.
Yeah,
and
it's re-leaked.
I know you had some, this time we're seeing it in a full presentation of the figure. Mike, I know you had some pretty strong feelings on this one, so I'm going to let you lead off on this.
Yeah, so this is the colorized version of Ronin with the rubber cape. And I just don't know who this is for. Like, firstly, in the show, he wasn't colorized. The whole show is famously done in like black and white. So, like, why are they coloring it? Number one. Number two, we finally got a figure with the very first wired cape in the line. Why would you want to downgrade that to a rubber cape? I just don't get who was sitting there going like, man, this Ronin looks cool, but I'm gonna wait for a colored rubber version. Like, maybe if they just didn't want to spend the $70, which I guess I get, but this is already such a niche character. Like, why would you actively want a lesser version of it? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would make the mainline version full color instead of just black and white. Like, I totally understand the not having the cloth sculpt or the
I agree with
wired
that. It's the coloring that's weird. Yeah,
it's the coloring is so odd. Just do the black and white version with the rubber cape on the main line. Like, that makes sense with, I guess, less accessories or I don't know, everything the exclusive set comes with, but that would just make sense. I mean, I know people are going to buy this, and I don't want to talk down to anybody who is excited for a colorized version, but I just can't imagine anybody being more excited for a colorized version than a black and white version when in the show, it's, like you said, it's famously black and white. Like, that's its entire aesthetic. It's black and white and then, like, some colorized lights on the droid and some fire, maybe. You know, it's just to bring out all the details like that. I really don't understand this one, but
it's an interesting choice. I'm definitely not getting it, and there's no point in me getting this because, like, I've got the version I want.
Yeah, you have the superior version.
Exactly. Even Luke, Lance Peter Luke, who famously doesn't like soft goods, isn't getting this, but that's not because of the soft goods or not. It's because it's not a canon character, and he doesn't buy canon characters or non-canon characters.
Yeah. But enough of that mid figure leak. Let's jump to our newer segment that we had last time on the podcast. This is where we talk briefly about other lines that we're interested in, if there's something really cool coming out that we think other people might want to know about as well. And I have never seen this before, but Mike had dropped a pre-order on it and wanted to talk about it on the show. So I'm going to share. This is the Brutal Realm. I'm going to hand this one to you because I still don't fully know what it is.
Sure. So yeah, this is the Brutal Realm General Grimskull. Now, Brutal Realms was a Kickstarter that came out, I think, last year, maybe the end of the year before that, but I don't think it was that long ago. And they're all of them are somewhat barbarian-esque. Like, there's a He-Man looking guy, there's like a Conan looking guy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of crossover here between like Mythic Legions fans and stuff. Even Trevor, who we had on our show a couple episodes ago, who does the photography. He did the photography for these. Like, this is his photography. So I normally don't care, but I didn't see this figure, General Grimskull. If you want to go, he's $50, which is kind of what these types of figures retail for. And he looks like what would happen if you took Skeletor and Darth Vader and they had a kid. Where
it looks really cool. Like, this actually looks really sick.
It does. It really does. So, like, the helmet shape, the head shape is definitely like Vader-esque. He's got a cool cape. Looks like it. I don't know. It looks like it might be wired, but I think they just flip. I think it's rubber. I think it just flipped it up.
Is it going to be on like a joint to like flip it?
No, I think they literally just folded the cape up. But he comes with a sword, and that sword has like a red sheath you could put on it to make it look like it's a lightsaber, which I think is kind of cool. He's got a couple different hands. Like, I think this looks awesome. It's definitely Vader-esque, but it also kind of has a skull face in there as well. I think it looks awesome.
And like I said in the pre-show, this is what Kylo Ren wants to look like.
This is what Kylo Ren thinks he looks like, for sure. Yeah. Like, he looks in the mirror every day, and like, this is what he sees. Like, I'm so badass. Yeah,
he's a Vader fanboy. You know, this
for sure.
This is his.
Yeah,
I'm actually surprised this isn't like some Star Wars like knockoff video game. You know, they do this weird like third party figures sometimes.
Sure.
Like Darth Vader mixed with whatever else. Like, this is kind of what that looks like.
Yeah.
But I think this is kind of like, you know, the Kickstarter type thing. So definitely inspired by Vader in a way. You should just display this with your Black Series, actually.
Honestly, I might. I don't know. Or it'll go with my Mythic Legions or somewhere in between. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to do my new toy room yet. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yep. And then moving on to what I was going to share. Got to talk about some Hot Toys, because literally this morning they revealed some hot fire Revenge of the Sith Hot Toys. I'll start it off with the 212th Airborne Clone Trooper, which I was actually not going to get this right away.
Wow, that went waitlisted fast.
Yeah, so both clones, Cody and the Airborne 212th, are both waitlisted, and they're both limited to only 3,000 Hot Toys, and I can't pretend to know what a normal run for Hot Toys is. You know, I don't know if they make 6,000, 10,000, 15, like whatever it is. So 3,000 could be really limited, could be limited, but not limited, you know. But they're promoting it as limited to 3,000 pieces. But I didn't know that, because when I woke up, I saw Cody, Vader, I saw the Airborne Trooper, and I saw the picture of Cody saying he was limited to 3,000, but I didn't notice that this one was limited. So I saw this, and I just said, you know, that's really cool for Revenge of the Sith, but, you know, I'm prioritizing other things. I do want it in a couple months later down the road, maybe. So I'll just pass and get it later. But then shout out to Tommy from Blitz Transmissions, who we had on a couple episodes ago. He let me know that this was actually limited as well. So I was like, you know what? I really don't want to miss out just with how cool it looks. So I'd snagged a pre-order on it. I put my deposit down, and he looks incredible. Of course, like all the paint detail. I do really love this clone design, and you know, he's the one that says no one could have survived that fall, you know, to Cody, talking about
he's got a line. Cool.
He's got a line. Yeah. But I've always loved this design, and it's crazy Black Series hasn't done this yet. What are we doing, Hasbro?
I don't know. They have that helmet. It's the Purge Trooper helmet. Like, they could easily do these.
And they've released it. They've released that helmet 2 or 3 times already.
Yeah.
And they've never done a clone.
They have all the parts. They have every part.
And it's literally the anniversary of the movie this clone is in. It would have looked great on a box with the Darth Vader flame in the background, but we got Ayla Secura instead. All right, I'm moving on.
You know, don't go back down that rabbit hole.
Next up, I snagged a pre-order on Commander Cody. No, wrong one. What am I doing?
You just canceled your Commander Cody. Oh, no.
No. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this one's waitlist as well, limited to 3,000.
So I have this, but this looks like it has the Phase 1 helmet. I wonder how different it is.
This includes a Phase 1 and Phase 2 helmet. Apparently, I was talking to Mr. Coffee on the Discord chat earlier, and he said he thinks they updated the upper torso and the upper thighs and the torso. But I guess it's just a newer version of Cody. I couldn't tell you what's different or updated about it. But it is a limited release, and I had to grab this one because I've kind of been eyeing that Cody I guess the one you have. If I would have seen it at the con this weekend, it would have been really hard to pass up. And thankfully, they revealed this one right before I go, so I don't spend $450 on it. I can just pre-order this one for however, I don't even know how much it retails for, and it's all $270 it retailed for. So, but if somebody's interested, they could go join the wait list. But thankfully, I got my pre-order in. But not only did I pre-order that today, Mike, I'm cooked.
You are so cooked.
I pre-ordered this operating table. No, I didn't pre-order. I'm going to pre-order because this isn't posted yet. I'm going to pre-order this one, and I cannot believe that we have a Hot Toys operating table Darth Vader before we have a Black Series version and a TVC version, because they haven't released an operating table for Vader in 20 years since the 05 line. So it's kind of crazy. Hot Toys is the first to do it since then.
Now, how many Darth Vaders are you going to end up with?
So Hot Toys Darth Vaders, this is going to be number 3 for me.
Are you going to keep all 3, or are you going to sell one, or what's going on?
I'm going all in, baby. I'm keeping all 3.
You have a Vader collection going on.
Yes. So what it's going to be, I'm okay with I love Revenge of the Sith. The one thing that's not great about it is I've never been a big fan of the Darth Vader helmet. I like it, but I much prefer the original trilogy look of the Vader helmet. Because for people who don't know, the Darth Vader helmet in Episode 3, it's symmetrical. It's perfect on each side. But in New Hope, the way it just looks so unique because it's wide, the nose area, the nose and mouth is wider. The paint hits are different. It's not just all shiny. It's flat on one side, so it catches the light different. And
yeah, he's got a silver accent under one of his cheeks.
Yeah, and Black Series has actually captured that really well on their figures, surprisingly. That's one of the things that Black Series has done a really good job on their Vaders. But I also ordered. I'll show this one up. Let's see. So I'm gonna have 3 Black Series. I'm gonna have 3 Hot Toys Darth Vaders because I also ordered this one the other day, and I'm gonna have it displayed with this head sculpt. But I'm slightly annoyed because the one with the head sculpt that has the mask half broken, but it's only up to his eye, like it is in The Force Unleashed. That one's waitlisted, and I didn't want to risk missing out on this, so I went ahead and grabbed it. So I'm gonna have 2 Vaders with the head fully, exposed, and then one normal, my Kenobi Vader now will just be a normal Darth Vader, since it's based on the Kenobi show.
You could put a great look for Vader. I wonder if you could put the Vader with the slash on it from the Kenobi Vader on one of these guys. I wonder if the.
Oh, I probably absolutely could, because this one comes with a helmet. Let me slide this over. This one comes with this helmet, but this is
okay.
But that's not the same one as the Kenobi Vader. A lot of people think it is. The Kenobi Vader, the slash goes all the way up the top of the helmet.
Yeah, all the way to the back. Yeah.
But I could really probably swap them out any way I wanted, so it's going to be really cool. So I'm going to have Darth Vader on the operating table with the helmet coming down on him, and then I'm going to have a normal, fully healthy Darth Vader, just like you see him in the Kenobi show or A New Hope, etc. And then I'm going to have this Vader displayed. I think they have a picture of this. Yeah, I want the fully exposed head with the cape flying. I guess.
Oh, I love that the one robot leg and robot arm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was on the fence about this figure for a long time, and Wilbon knows I've been talking to him about this figure for so long. It seems like, but at the end of the day, I just feel like it's such a cool piece that I don't want to miss out on it, and I feel like I have to have it if I'm gonna collect some Hot Toys. This is one, like you mentioned in an Instagram chat we had earlier with our good pal Ken Plume. They know how to get my money. You put Darth Vader, Hayden, Anakin, and a Darth Vader, anything mixed like that, they're printing my money essentially. So had to get these. I wanted to talk about these on the show because I'm really looking forward to all of these figures. But I'm cooked, Mike. I'm cooked.
You're cooked. You're done.
I'm mega cooked. The wallet. I'm I'm drowning, Mike. You got to save me. I'm drowning.
I'm just gonna watch. It's fun to watch.
But apparently, I don't have a backbone to stand on my to stand my ground. I need to grow a backbone. Apparently. All right, moving on to. Let's move on from the Hot Toy reveals to Black Series. We have one Black Series reveal, and it is the Jedi Survivor 2-pack. Oh, I gotta share the screen. And I know, Mike, you pre-ordered this one, right?
I did.
Yeah, okay, now here we go. Here's a chat. And also for the listeners who are listening to this, if you want to join us and watch the video of this, it's $5 a month through patreon.com/blackseriescantina if you want to watch along and look at the pictures while we talk about them. But they revealed at close to midnight. I was at the...
It was 9 o'clock my time. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at the vet ER. Had to take Tucker there.
Oh, what's wrong with Tucker?
He's okay. He just had like his foot hit our back deck stairs going up, and he hurt his foot, so we had to take him. But he's okay. So, but I was literally sitting there waiting on them to be done with him, and they dropped this, and I was like, oh, this is a good time to pass some time. I'll post this on Instagram. Check it out. But Mike, what are your thoughts on this 2-pack?
I mean, we knew it was coming. It's 2 figures we already have repainted to look like they're Raider versions of these droids from the Jedi Survivor game. So it doesn't surprise me. It's priced accordingly, where the Destroyer droid is deluxe. The K2 droid, the KX droid, I feel like should be a deluxe because he's so big, but he's not. So that's kind of nice. And I forgot the price, and I looked at it, and it's actually sold out on Amazon.
Wait. There's no way this is sold out.
It's sold out on Amazon.
This is sold out?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this was $55, which I think for those 2 figures is pretty, it's reasonable. Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe I'm pulling up Amazon now to see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, that would surprise me if this sold out. Maybe they just didn't make a lot of them, or people are really... I don't know. Or they
cool,
like,
or they took it down for tariff reasons. I don't know. We can't tell anymore.
Yeah, I can't find it.
It's not. I had to go look at my my order. And when I click on my order, it's like currently unavailable.
Oh wow!
But yeah, I spent $54.99 on it, and then there's $4.
I mean, yeah, that's really not bad for what it is. My issue with it, I think the Droideka is cool. Like the paint design is cool. But this KX security droid, this might be one of my least favorite items I've seen in the Black Series in a really long time.
It looks like it should be a holiday figure.
Yeah, it's way too clean. And in the game, they are really scuffed up. And I know like they're just trying to make this pack as cheap as they can. And if that's what it takes for us to get all these new prequel trilogy sculpts for the anniversary or whatever, like if they have to do these really cheap repacks, like I'm fine with that. But this is what I was talking about earlier. Whenever something that's been frustrating me more lately is the lack of paint detail. And this figure having literally 0 like scuffs on him, he should have something.
He's got paint. It's just he doesn't have any weather.
He's got the silver, and the pieces on the backpack. Like he should have at least a little bit, like a touch of weathering to make it look like it does in the game. But that's just my issue. I just think, but I do really like the Droideka. I think the Droideka looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm getting it because I just like droids. I like having more droids. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I feel like it's fine. Now I'm glad I pre-ordered it.
The price is pretty reasonable. Like you get the Droideka, and then for an extra $20, you get the KX.
Yeah, like exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think it's a good deal for the set. I just wish they put more paint on the KX droid.
Sure.
But I do like how he comes with that little electro staff. That's pretty cool. But yeah, not a big reveal or anything. Hopefully, next episode we have another Black Series reveal to chat about. But yeah, that's it on toys as far as Hot Toys, Black Series, any news we got. So now I guess real quick before we jump into talking about spoilers, let's take a look at the master list from Yakface. I just wanted to go over his bolded items because he's been doing this thing where in bold, like those are the next figures we're gonna get revealed. And he has Barriss Offee, the Jedi Temple Guard, the Ronin, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin from Revenge of the Sith. Let's go. Can't freaking wait. The Stranger from the Acolyte, and the Mace Windu Supreme Chancellor 2-pack from Revenge of the Sith. Now that is hot fire right there. Like that list of figures coming out soon.
You think that's what they're going to reveal to us at San Diego Comic-Con? Or do you think we might get them before? Like,
I'm hoping for like an end of May stream to where they're like,
well, I guess we have June. We have all of June. So like if they want to do, if they've already done a reveal in May, if they want to do a reveal in June, that could be it.
Feel like, like May 25th is the real Star Wars Day. May 19th is
Orthodox Star Wars Day is what we call it.
Day.
Yeah.
May 19th is the actual anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. So if they wanted to do something on the 23rd or the 30th, just something at the end of May to capitalize on some of that, I feel like that would be a good time instead of waiting. But I also would totally understand if, since this is just like almost every one of those as a get for me, like those well, I guess except for the Ronin, but because that's the leaked figure.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Barriss, Temple Guard, Obi, Annie, the Stranger, Mace, and the Chancellor 2-pack. Like that's amazing. So I wouldn't blame them if like they're holding that for SDCC and we just get a really big stream and all those revealed. But who knows? I wouldn't complain if they want to do it before then.
I mean, twist my arm.
And I think and you mentioned they usually announce the SDCC exclusive before the con.
Yeah, because they have to put it up at the con. So we usually get it like a month before Comic-Con usually happens so that people know it's coming. So
I wonder if these will be revealed around the same time as that, maybe. I don't know.
No, I think, let's say, obviously we don't know, but let's say the con exclusive is like Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like how I said the last episode, like maybe they put those on those Revenge of the Sith cards or whatever, kind of like they did with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. Yeah,
that's the Lukeness rumor that they're doing the carded Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Exactly, right.
Which I highly doubt that's going to be the case, knowing what we know.
So if they did, it would just be those revealed, and then those will be the con versions, and then they'll have like standard versions that you can also buy. Because usually if they do a con version, they'll do a standard version separately, kind of like what they're doing with the Ronin, but for some reason they're colorizing it.
Yeah, and like they've shown that they don't really mind releasing the same character multiple times at the same time.
Like Darth Maul.
I was literally gonna say the Darth Maul we got on the speeder, we got the main line and the 3-pack all at the same time, literally pretty much at the same time. So they could definitely do it, with Anakin and Obi-Wan. But so that's it for going over the Yakface master list. Now those are probably the next reveals. If Yak is usually right on the money with that sort of thing.
Usually.
Yeah. But I say we jump into full spoilers for Tales of the Underworld.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. I feel like if you haven't seen it by now, honestly, if you haven't seen them, you could knock them out. Like each episode, there's like 6 episodes and they're like 10 minutes long each. And that's part of my problem with it. Is they're so short.
It goes by quick.
It goes by so fast. Like literally it's like an hour and you can watch all 6.
Yeah, so full spoilers if you aren't fully caught up, it's probably not that big a deal. Like there's nothing major we can probably spoil if you really don't care that much. You can just listen to us and see what we think. Or
I feel like there really weren't any spoilers at all. Really?
Yeah, there's also like the Dooku versus Yaddle would have been a big spoiler, but
sure.
In these,
but the thing is, like anyone who knows anything knows that Yaddle dies. Look, so Yaddle dying isn't isn't a spoiler. Being the
primary focus of it was also a big, like more of a surprise too.
Sure, that was a surprise.
But But yeah, full spoilers. Which one do you want to talk about first? Let's talk about Asajj first.
Let's talk about Asajj first. So the thing for me that was interesting, it was, back when Asajj was in season 3 of Bad Batch, everyone was like, what the heck? Like, she dies in a book. She should be dead. How is she alive? Hasbro's rewriting canon. They're discounting a previous canon book because it came out after 2014 or whatever, when they did Legends and canon and stuff. So like, what the heck? And then, they were like, hold on, it's not canon anymore. Just hang tight and just, be patient. And suddenly we got this. And I'll be honest, for people that didn't know that Asajj dies, because we don't see her die, it's jarring. I had to explain to my wife, like, we started the episode and I saw where it was going and I paused it. I'm like, okay, hold on. I have to explain to you why Asajj Ventress is dead. Because like a normal person doesn't know Asajj is dead. Like they wouldn't know because we never saw her die. The only way you know she's dead is if you read the Dark Disciple book. And that's it. Like, that's the only thing we know that she's dead in. So like why is Asajj dead at the beginning of this little arc thing, this little set? So it was weird. Like, I wish they had animated some kind of like recap of Dark Disciple to let people know why she's dead, So it was like, I feel like it started off on a weird note, but for the people who did know, for me, that was enough. Okay, so weird Night Witch magic brought her back to life. Fine. I don't know why it didn't bring everyone else back to life. Like, why are they all still dead and she gets to come back? There's little weird things like that. But it's also, it's Star Wars. You just kind of just go with it. Just go with it. It's a fake fantasy story. Like, they want Asajj alive, but they killed her in a book, so she's alive again. Just fucking go with it. That's what they did with Darth Maul too, okay?
Yeah, how did you feel overall about the Asajj one?
So I liked it. It was just a normal, like, slice of life kind of thing where it's like this 3-part adventure of her finding a former Padawan after Order 66 and trying to get him to safety, which, the path, which I thought was cool. They mentioned the path, and specifically Quinlan Vos, who had a thing with Asajj Ventress. And I thought that was going to go somewhere, and then it didn't. So I'm like, okay, like, what a tease. And in fact, I think I tweeted, I commented on social media. I was like, more like tease of the Underworld, if anything, because like I feel like this little setup was like the first episode of a new series. I feel like there was a pilot where they're like, hey, we have this idea for this Asajj Ventress show where Asajj is gonna pal around with this little Padawan she found.
Oh, and the Padawan! Oh my God, the Padawan!
I don't mind the Padawan. In fact, I don't know if anyone's watched Reservation. Padawan. If anyone's watched Reservation Dogs, the Padawan is voiced by Cheese from Reservation Dogs, and I really like Cheese in that show. That was the character's name. I don't know the actor's name.
That Padawan might be my least favorite character in all of Star Wars.
No, he wasn't that bad.
I hated that kid.
He wasn't that bad.
To me, he was just annoying.
I mean, so was Ahsoka.
But not like that. She was exactly that annoying. When 2008 Clone Wars, the movie, started, and people were like, oh, Anakin didn't have a Padawan. What is this? And she's calling him Sky Guy and calling Rhoda the Hutt Stinky and like having all these weird, quirky names and being the spunky kid. She was 100% that annoying. 100%. I guess just not to me, but because I didn't watch that when it came out. If I watched that when it came out, I probably would have been like, "Oh, this is stupid." I probably would have agreed. But now I watched it all at the same time, like all the Clone Wars, and I really loved Ahsoka. But I I don't know. This tale, it was so inconsequential.
That's the same problem I've had with a lot of tales. And
Yeah.
that's exactly why the Dooku one was so good, is it wasn't inconsequential. It's like they're too scared to show us shows that do anything. So they're giving us inconsequential stories.
And the Asajj one was the word that comes to mind. It was, to me, it was just boring. Like that's
I wasn't bored by it, but I agree that it
I was
nothing
bored
happened.
watching the Asajj. Like
Yeah.
Asajj, they're fighting over water with a, like, how many times are we going to see in these Star Wars animation shows where, like, there's the humans that live on the planet or whatever, and they're having an issue with the species,
local natives or whatever.
the local alien species that lives there over some,
that was a dime a dozen on
resource.
Clone Wars, the cartoon.
Yeah, like, and even Bad Batch did it sometimes.
Yeah,
Like where
yep.
like they're gonna have some issue with the resource and they gotta resolve it. But I'm like, why am I watching Asajj Ventress help somebody like do with this water thing with this species on this planet? Like they're
Well, it was interesting because they were separatists, and he recognized her as being Asajj Ventress, the separatist. So
the guy was cool. Like,
but
that
the
guy
problem
was neat.
is nothing happened. like nothing happened with it. They just talked about it and then moved on, and it was ultimately meaningless. I thought they were going to do something interesting with
the
that
kid didn't
fact.
even go on the path.
He didn't. No, and
she
that's what
did.
I'm saying. It felt like they were setting it up for a series.
So like, if you're that kid, why do you decide not to go on the path and instead spend your life with this aging Sith witch? Like what decision is that? I was just incredibly bored of that one, and I didn't like it at all. And normally, I'm good on Star Wars animation. Like I just like most of the tales, I like them better than most people do. Like the Barasafi one wasn't great, but I still
See,
thought
I
it was
like
really.
I like the Barasafi one. I thought that the Morgan Elsbeth one was really boring.
Yeah, even that one, like I thought it was boring, but I was interested because it was Thrawn, and coming off like the live action, seeing Morgan and Thrawn.
I guess. It just felt like they're like, hey, we have to connect this into where you see her in The Mandalorian season 2. And that was the whole purpose of those 3 episodes, is get Morgan Elsbeth as the mayor or whatever, the governor of that little town, whatever she was.
But I liked that one.
Neat.
I liked that one better than Asajj just because it
did.
still had Thrawn in it, and I felt like the Morgan stuff was just more intriguing.
I thought Thrawn was kind of boring. He's like, oh man, I really like it. Excuse me. This is actually a thing because I just read the whole newer Thrawn trilogy that Timothy Zahn did. Thrawn is obsessed with TIE defenders. Like absolutely.
That is true.
Absolutely obsessed with TIE defenders. Like in every book, that's what he talks about. I got my TIE defender project. Oh, Project Stardust is taking away from my TIE defender project.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, dude, they're just TIE fighters with shields. That's it. Who cares? Like, I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, the Asajj one I thought was just kind of, it was almost a waste of time. Like, if you're gonna release 2 tales every year, and that's what you give us,
Yeah.
just stop and just give us a full-fledged animation show and just stop wasting your time on it.
So I
that's what we're
agree.
getting.
I agree that I think the format is and I said this last year with Tales of the Empire. Like it's a weird format, and I felt like the first one didn't feel as weird because it felt more broken up, where they were kind of bouncing back and forth between time periods. Where the first one was Ahsoka as a little baby, and then it's Dooku with Qui-Gon, and you kind of jump around, bounce around and stuff. Where now they're giving you these little chunks. Mm-hmm. These little chunks of time, I guess. But I don't know. Like I wish that they would turn them into movies. Like why are they episodes? Like why are you giving us 3 episodes? Why not just give us a little movie, like a little 30-minute movie?
Yeah.
I did not know that, Esteban. So he says that he's bummed that we'll never get books 7, 8, and 9 that deal with the Grisk, because in these newer Thrawn books, which are canon, Thrawn is setting up the book series are setting up this Grisk empire as like this big bad kind of out in the distance, but coming in, and it's been moving pieces to like build it up as like, ooh, the Grisk are coming, and knowing that because they did. Yeah, knowing that they never get there because Timothy Zahn couldn't write about it until they put Thrawn in live action. Like that's a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, I've read the first 3 books, and then he's got the Ascendancy books, which deal with the Chiss Ascendancy, which it's cool. It's really good books. And if you've ever wanted to read a book that takes place 100% from like the Empire's perspective, if that's always been like your thing, we're like, oh man, I wish we could get something from the Empire. Like these are the books. Like there's no rebels, there's no Jedi. It's all Imperial hierarchy and political maneuvering, and it's really well done. They're really, really well done.
Mm-hmm. You ready to talk about the good one? The good.
Yeah, let's talk about Cad Bane.
I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the story between him and his old pal, and they reconnect and then have the showdown. What did you think of this one?
So kind of the same thing that you were complaining about is like, I was like, okay, it's neat, but did I really need it? Was this a story that I needed to know? Did I need a Cad Bane origin story?
Mm-hmm.
And as much Cad Bane is my guy. I love Cad Bane, but especially when it comes to like bounty hunters, it lessens the mystery when you explain where they come from a little bit. Like Boba Fett, growing up, Boba Fett was this mysterious bounty hunter, and no one really knew anything about him. He had ties to being a Mandalorian, maybe. He hated Han Solo, probably. But largely, he could be anyone, anything, at any time. And then George is like, guess what, guys? He's a clone. He's a clone of another bounty hunter. And that's how I've always wanted it to be. And it did kind of ruin the mystery and wonder of Boba Fett. And while this didn't really do that to the same level, I just feel like you don't need to know how Cad Bane started. Cad Bane's got so many cool stories from the Clone Wars cartoons and Bad Batch, and even Book of Boba Fett. Like, say what you will about Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett was one of the best parts of Book of Boba Fett. And I just don't know if I cared about this that much. Like, it was cool. The voice of young Cad Bane was AJ Locasio, and I know him. I've met him in person. I've done live streams with him. He's also the voice of Gambit in X-Men 97. Super cool guy. I was happy to see his voice on the credits. Like, I don't want to take anything away from that accomplishment. And like I said, as much as I love Cad Bane, I don't know. I didn't. Once I saw where they were going with this, I kind of didn't care about it. And they kind of did the same thing with the ending of Cad Bane as they did with Andor. Spoiler alert for Andor. It's like the same ending. Like, stop this. Stop it.
Yeah.
That's all it's all to say.
And then the thing about Cad Bane, I liked it, but it's not something we necessarily needed. I also, with these Tales things, there's only a couple parts of the shows, like the episodes that I can actually remember, because most of them are pretty forgettable.
They're forgettable. They are, and I hate saying this because I want to love these so much. I love Star Wars animation. I love these characters, but I feel like they're playing these too safe.
I would agree with that. Like, I would, but I am glad though that they didn't turn Cad Bane into like a soft guy. Like, oh,
sure,
you know. They kept him with an edge, with he's just truly an asshole.
Yes, 100%. Yep.
So at least they didn't ruin the character or anything. It was
I
just a
agree. I agree with
neat
you.
story.
Yep.
But I think this is probably the second best Tales, not because of how good it was, but just
Second
because
best
of how.
Tales, huh?
Well, Dooku.
I kind of like Ahsoka's better than this one.
I guess I need to rewatch Ahsoka. So I guess top 2 or 3. Like, I do remember like the Ahsoka one, but also the first episode of the Ahsoka one when she's like a little kid. I'm like, what are we doing?
Okay, that's true. You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. All right.
But I did like how was Tales, the Ahsoka Tales, whenever she went to Padme's funeral, or was that
No, that was Ahsoka. Yeah, it was Ahsoka's. Yeah.
The Tales, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really good, and I remember, I guess like that last Ahsoka episode, but I just feel like most of the Tales are pretty underwhelming.
I agree.
I need to do a good rewatch on these, but some of them are just going to be hard to get through. But I mean, Cad Bane, I just think I like it better than most of the other ones. I know I don't like it better than Dooku because I remember,
Sure.
like
No.
I can remember a lot of the Dooku one because a lot of it's not forgettable. It's memorable.
Yeah.
You know, seeing him and Qui-Gon go through this stuff when they're younger, and then whenever he's talking about Obi-Wan to Qui-Gon, he's saying, hopefully I can meet him one day. You know, and then whenever he meets him, it's, you know, whenever Obi-Wan is shackled up on Geonosis. And then I just think it also gives deeper meaning to whenever Count Dooku says he misses him. He misses Qui-Gon. And because I believe when he says that.
Oh, 100%. Oh, he's
genuinely
being
believe
truthful
it, yeah.
there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made that one and the Ahsoka one so great is it's playing around with scenes and sections of Star Wars we already know. And it's kind of filling in those details, those cracks.
Yeah, like some questions we have. Like
Exactly. So, you know, like when Dooku was talking to Qui-Gon in that episode, you're like, oh, wow, okay, that's happening in, like, that means Dooku was still technically part of the Jedi Order in the Phantom Menace. We just didn't see him or whatever, you know? So it was kind of putting a lot of those things together where it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And seeing, you know, Dooku and Mace Windu, was it Mace or was it Ki-Adi-Mundi? Which one was he interacting? It was Mace. Dooku and Mace interacting, you know, on that little mission or whatever, seeing how he was as a Jedi, like, we're kind of filling in cracks of seeing that. And same thing with Ahsoka, like, you know, barring, I agree, the one where she's a baby, it was just there for like cutesy little fan service, like, oh, look, baby Ahsoka or whatever. But the one, like you said, where she's sneaking around Padme's funeral, which we've seen that in the movie, so it's kind of putting new context to that scene, which I just really enjoyed. Whereas in this, there's no connection to that. We're just seeing Cad Bane as a young Cad Bane in space Chicago, which is it basic, like the town they were in was 100%, or the planet they were on was 100% modeled after Chicago, doing gangster stuff and doing like weird shakedowns, trying to be the best mob boss on the block or whatever. And then his friend gets caught, turns into a cop. And then they're, you know, like, we're friends, but now you're on the other side of the law. Oh, man. And, you know, it has the makings of something cool, but also, like, it's kind of forgettable because it doesn't really connect to anything that we know.
he does have a son now.
I hate that. I hate it. I don't want to actually say I hate it because I don't hate it. It's just like, are you going to do anything with that? Or are you just doing it to do it, you know?
I didn't mind it because I thought like maybe one day they'll tell a story where maybe the kid grows up to be in the like trying to get back at Cad for killing the person who raised him or something.
Maybe,
but
like,
then,
he's like, and then we get an "I am your father" kind of situation, or maybe they'll subvert expectations and be like, "No, I don't know that I'm your father." Or maybe the kid will say, "You're my father," and he'll be like, "No, that's not true. That's impossible." Like, I don't know.
It'll also probably be like just in a comic book or a novel or something, and I'm not going to read it or, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Overall, still pretty inconsequential and just a tale. There's just a tale.
I want it to be consequential, and they keep making these inconsequential. And that's my biggest problem is it's not that I'm not mad that they exist. I just wish we got something more meaningful. It's like they gave us all the filler episodes of like a show. Like if they had a season of this show and then they were like, let's just give them the filler episodes. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like the ones that don't really affect the storyline overall.
And I don't know why they're so afraid to touch, like, do Luke, Han, and Leia in between 4 and 5.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Tales of the Rebellion. Show us what, that bounty hunter on Ord Mantell that Han mentioned. Show that.
Yeah, show us some missions that go on in between those movies, or give us another Rebels tale.
Yes.
Another 100%. Mission from the Rebels crew.
Show us how Saw Gerrera lost his leg. Mm-hmm. Huffing Rhydonium.
Give us a Luke Skywalker story 10 years after Episode 6,
Sure.
15 years after. Give us something more interesting than Asajj Ventress helping these people get water.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I can list 1,000 more interesting stories to tell that they can do 15-minute episodes on for 3 episodes than Asajj Ventress helping this annoying ass kid get to the path, and then the kid doesn't even go on the path, and in the middle they're fighting over water. Whenever they got a whole ass lake,
here's the thing,
lake.
That first episode where they fight the Inquisitor was cool, okay? The first episode was cool.
The first episode was good, and then after that, it was incredibly boring.
I agree. I agree.
But let's move on from Tales because we got to get to Andor still. And those last 6 episodes, man, might be probably my favorite Andor episodes.
So the first 3, the Gorman genocide, I think that's peak. I think that is the best that Andor got for sure. But while I don't dislike the last 3 episodes, I think they all they do is connect Andor to Rogue One. Like I don't think they tell a particularly interesting story, or like they're interesting. I'm not going to say they're not interesting, but like comparing that to the Narkina 5 arc or the Aldhani mission arc or the end of season 1, like Marva's funeral, I don't think anything in those last 3 episodes held up to any of those that I just mentioned. See,
I know you mentioned that you like season 1 better because
overall
it's more of of a cohesive story, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, kind of like each arc kind of flows into the other. Like the first one is Andor getting recruited by Luthen. The second one is Andor's first mission from Luthen. The third one is the aftermath of that mission from Luthen, where he gets locked up or whatever. And then the last one is, him dealing with his mom's death and going back home and all that stuff. And I think the whole story is so good because it's just that story. Whereas the second season had some of that, but then they're always also like, oh, we gotta kind of push this into Rogue One. And it's clear that they had like 3 or 4 seasons worth of show but Disney was like, we'll give you 1 more season. So you have to pick like some of that story and squish it all down into 1 season. And to me, it kind of felt disjointed, like having a 3-episode arc and then a year break in between each one. I just feel like there was so much in between those shows that I wanted to know about. And we just didn't see them. We didn't get them. We had to kind of infer and guess of what happened to the characters in between each arc. And again, I don't want to say I didn't like it. Andor is great. Peak Star Wars season 2 is fantastic. But I think season 1 was something special. And I don't think season 2 quite as a whole reached it. But I do think the Gorman genocide arc is the best arc of Andor.
Okay. See, I think my point of view, and I guess maybe I'm the opposite. Maybe I guess it just shows what type of Star Wars fan I am, but I think I like season 2 more because of how much it ties into Rogue One. Because I loved seeing all the, like, whenever we have Krennic talking, he mentions, you sound like Tarkin, and all the
Sure. Yeah.
Whenever Partagaz was saying Death Star, that's a something name, like whatever it says about the name of it, and like the rebellion seeing Mon Mothma talking to Bail Organa about stuff that connects with what they do in Rogue One, and that general guy, I forget what, General Drayden, I think is his name. Seeing all of it connect to Rogue One was honestly my favorite part of the show. And the last 6 episodes, like the Mon Mothma speech, we didn't get to cover that last week. Whenever she finishes it with the monster, blah blah blah, is Emperor Palpatine. That's going to come
great
us all.
speech.
Emperor
Great
Palpatine.
speech. Yep.
Like that stuff was absolutely amazing, and that's
and that's part of the Gorman. That's part of the Gorman. That was the 3rd episode of the Gorman genocide arc, and it's just so poignant. It's so relevant. It was perfect.
Yeah, and like Esteban says in the comments, they originally gave him 5 seasons. Whenever they revealed that a long time ago, I did think that was too long. I think 3 would have been perfect.
I think 3 would have been fine.
This out a little more.
I think they could have expanded it. Okay. At the end, this is just an example of one of the things that kind of bugged me. In the end, like that last episode is just, and there's a chunk of time in the episode where Andor is just slow walking. It's slow-mo. And he's like, I'm going into Rogue One. Look at me. This is me strolling. I'm going to go to the planet you saw me on, the rings of Keldar or whatever. And I'm going to meet Tizik, this guy that has not been in Andor at all. They haven't mentioned him in Andor. They didn't talk about him in Andor. But in this episode specifically, they're like, oh, Tizik. Tizik's great. We're going to go meet Tizik. Tizik. Everyone knows Tizik. Tizik's this guy. But the only reason you know who that is because he was just the guy that Andor kills at the beginning of Rogue One. That's it. Like, he wasn't in the show before then. And I'm like, why are they acting like we care who this is? Because we know what happens to him. He gets killed. Andor kills him in cold blood.
I actually really liked whenever they had him doing that long walk to the ship because, every series, whenever it ends, they always do these like panning, sort of slow-mo, like long standing shots, before it wraps up. But I liked that because whenever he was walking, I was thinking in my head, he's about to go on one of his last missions before he dies.
Well, he's starting his last mission, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So that it was almost like a goodbye to that character in a way.
Well, and then you see
in Rogue One.
Yeah, you see the Force healer look at him like so meaningful and like I get it. I get it.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
See, I didn't. I don't think there was enough time for me.
It probably would have helped if we had another,
I guess. I think one more season. Yeah. Where it's just like, it was just like, okay, Andor's going to go die. And immediately after we watched it last night, we put on Rogue One because you have to.
I'm going to watch it probably next week.
We went straight from
Tuesday night.
Season 12, or episode 12 of Andor. We went straight into watching Rogue One. There is a line in Rogue One where when Saw captures them, Chirrut says, "Oh, don't worry, Baze and I have been in worse cages than this." And Andor specifically says, "No, this is a first for me." And my first thought was, "Really, Andor? You were locked up on a prison planet, and that's worse than this little cage on Jeddah? Like, really?" It just, it's weird little things like that where it's like, okay, I feel like it doesn't mesh up as well as people really want it to mesh up. Don't take that as a knock. Again, I love Andor. I'm glad we got it. And it's a full 180. When they announced it, I was like, I don't care about Andor. And now I love Andor. He's like a great character. I mean, the show's fantastic. It's some of the best Star Wars has ever been. I just feel like the season 2 is too preoccupied with trying to connect it into Rogue One.
I understand that.
I just wanted it to be its own thing. I wanted them to give us more Andor as opposed to inserting Andor into Rogue One, I guess.
And I do like how Andor, if you look at this, like both seasons on the timeline leading up to Rogue One, I do really like how it's it starts really small and then it just crescendos into this really big, like the last 6 episodes. Like we have the rebellion now. We're on Yavin.
Sure.
Like the rebellion is a full-fledged.
Well, like that first little arc had the rebels fighting each other on Yavin, and
yeah,
then,
exactly.
Yeah, and then in the last episode, it's like, oh, we're on Yavin. Everyone's got to come to Yavin, and it becomes like, it really does become the Rebel Alliance. Like, I feel like that's one of the coolest things that Disney has done with Star Wars in this era is show how pockets of resistance and rebellion formed together to become the Rebel Alliance. Because you know, you hear that phrase Rebel Alliance, but it's meaningless if you all just saw them together. Like they were already together, they were already an alliance, and that implies that at one point they weren't aligned. You know, they were different individual pockets that have come together. It's like the United States of America. At some point, the states weren't as united as they are now. You know, so
they were actually fighting.
Yeah, at some point, yeah.
You know, my state was what did Abe Lincoln call it? Oh, fuck, I can't remember. Because Kentucky was like split in half.
Yeah,
and I forget what they used to call it, but to your point about it not lining up perfectly with Rogue One, and maybe you can help me understand this a little more. Maybe I missed something, but in Rogue One, whenever Krennic is talking to Vader and he says, "So you'll speak to the Emperor about this," does that not imply that the Emperor doesn't speak to Krennic?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm reading that
no,
correctly, right?
As far as I'm aware, the Emperor doesn't really speak to Krennic. Even in the book I just finished reading, the Thrawn Treason, is directly around this stuff where it's Krennic's in it. He's talking about Stardust and stuff, and he doesn't talk to the Emperor in that either.
So like every time you see Krennic in this show, multiple times he says, "I just spoke to the Emperor."
Does he?
Spoke to the Emperor. Yeah.
Yeah.
He and then somebody else, it's either Partagaz or some other white suited ISB guy, literally says Krennic just spoke with the Emperor, and then it's like we get to Rogue One and he's like, "You'll speak to the Emperor about this." Like you can tell
so
yourself.
It could be.
Did he just cut communication?
I will say this, and it could just make a headcanon kind of thing. It could be that he didn't speak to the Emperor, but he's trying to use the Emperor's name to like.
Well, that's what I thought whenever they were doing the casual, like the Nazi thing, they would try to do whenever they were like casually talking about genociding a whole planet of people, you know, like at lunch, basically. Yeah. With what happened with what's it called? Like the Final Solution.
Yes.
But like, I thought that too until I think it was Partagaz said Krennic spoke with the Emperor. Or like we just got off of something about the Emperor, and then I'm like, oh, so he actually is talking to the Emperor. So but then if you get to Rogue One, it makes no sense for Palpatine to cut lines with the guy who's literally leading the Death Star project. But I guess Tarkin takes over. But
I think that's the thing is
Rogue One though, right? So
I think that's the thing is Tarkin was kind of maneuvering and taking his project away from him, so he went to tattle. Is what I got out of that is he was tattling, and Vader's like,
but he could tattle to the Emperor himself if you really needed
to. Maybe it's harder. Maybe he has talked to the Emperor, but it's harder to get like an audience with the Emperor.
Yeah,
like the Emperor has to call you. You don't call the Emperor, kind of thing.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah,
but also if you're the Emperor, wouldn't you want like a monthly meeting with the guy who's leading the biggest project of
the space station you're obsessed with, that you've been obsessed with for like 20 years, so obsessed with it that as soon as it blows up, you go and start making a new one.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of a new one, a second Death Star, this is my pitch to Lucasfilm, so we can keep getting a show like this.
Third Death Star.
A third Death Star. So we know Andor dies, so we can't have a season 3 of Andor. But I think they need to keep the steam rolling on this. I don't know if Tony Gilroy wants to do it or they want to give it to Dan Gilroy, because I think Dan Gilroy, his brother, wrote the Gorman arc,
which was great. Yeah.
Which was amazing.
Yep.
So give it to him, give it to whoever. do a Mon Mothma show that basically just takes us from A New Hope through the beginning of Return of the Jedi to where
sure.
Because so that way we can get the rebellion story fighting the Empire still.
Yeah.
Sort of it's the sequel to Andor that runs through the original trilogy. Give us 3 seasons, end it with the Bothan spies getting the Death Star 2 plans that Palpatine sets up, for them to get, and then just like this one led into Rogue One, make Mike mad and have it connect directly into Episode 6, and that's where it leads off at. Also, I did like how this 3-episode arc, Mon Mothma looked much more like she did. Oh, no.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the change there.
I was wondering how they were going to do that because I'm like, she looks so like
young,
good, like young,
great,
and her hair is like wild and her gowns are, and then in Rogue One we see her with like this weird short like pixie cut and these plain white dresses and stuff. I'm like, when does that happen? And then the answer is it just happens in the year between the episodes in the year break. And then again, that's kind of part of my problem is like, here's a year break, bunch of stuff changed, figure it out. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't really matter how one day Mon Mothma woke up and she's like, I'm going to cut my hair. Like, I don't need to see that.
I just imagine that, like, living on Yavin, she doesn't have access.
Yeah,
like,
she doesn't have access to.
Yeah.
That's 100% what it is. Yeah. Like, I did like the brief look at her husband because I had forgotten about him at that point. I'm like, oh yeah, she just kind of abandons him.
Yeah,
like he doesn't die. Nothing happens to him.
I thought he would have been locked up by the Empire. Just
something
they were trying to track.
Okay, so why were they going to arrest Partagaz, and why? Like, I can understand why he killed himself because they were going to arrest him or whatever, but like why?
I think what I took from that was
because it just kind of comes out of nowhere for me. Like they don't set it up. They're just suddenly like, hey, we're going to arrest you.
I actually, well, maybe I can change your mind.
Okay.
Just based on what we know of Darth Vader.
Sure.
Anytime in Empire Strikes Back, whenever an Imperial officer fails, what's he do? He chokes him out and kills him, right?
Sure.
And then, so thinking about if an entire organization or a sector of your company fails the biggest project that you're working on, and it could have been avoided pretty easily if Deidre doesn't, mess up with Luthen in the shop. Like, they ruined and they let the biggest secret they have get out there, and it's directly the ISB's fault. I think it's pretty plausible that Palpatine and Darth, or specifically Palpatine, probably would basically just, whoever's leading that operation, you're done. Like, you let the biggest secret get out and you're toast.
So I agree. Here's the difference. When Vader's choking you, you know why. He tells you why. Like, hey, you came out of light speed too early, and you alerted them, and then he choked the guy to death through Skype or whatever, Zoom. Like, I feel like they walked up to him and they're like, we're going to arrest you. Like, no reason why. There was no preamble to why. You just got the sense that, oh man, like, because he's listening to Nemec's manifesto, and it's like, okay, was he secretly a rebel? Was he just listening to it? Like, what's going on here? And suddenly, and it seemingly out of the blue, they're going to arrest him. I guess you can infer that they're going to arrest him because he did mess up those things. He did. Yeah. Excuse me. He did the thing where he's like, oh, just say that she is an escaped, medical person, and then that helped things go wrong because all the security people were searching for an escaped medical, person or whatever, and like a diseased person.
He was leading the campaign trying to catch what's her name, Luthen's assistant,
Clea. Not Leia, Clea. Yeah,
Clea. So the ISB failed miserably, and the Empire is just going to take out its top leaders. So
I feel like they could have explained it a little better. Is all I'm saying.
It would have been cool if there was a scene like with Krennic saying, "Yes, the ISB is being disbanded and it's under my."
Yes,
something like that would be cool.
Something. It just needed just a quick scene. So
with Palpatine.
Could Palpatine, Vader, or just Krennic? I just think there are times where they leave too much of a gap to where you have to string too much together, really. Like I guess I want a little bit more hand holding than that. Like not much, but just something where instead of, okay, this feels like it just came out of the blue. Like I know if you look back it doesn't, but like I just want something, one more stepping stone, you know.
And we probably could have got that if we had a third season and they were able to spend a little more time on it, you know.
Or if they didn't have to squish everything into 3 episodes or whatever. I do like that, you know, like Andor isn't in this first episode of this. It's just Luthen and Clea, and it has Deidre. Like it's just that. It's just those, and I think that that's kind of cool.
Did you hear about the scrapped K2 episode?
Yes, and that's another thing. Don't even get me started there.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you think about this? There was a one shot of Andor and K2SO that explained K2SO's origin and how they met, and this is completely different.
What do you mean by one shot?
There was a comic. There was a one shot comic canon comic. It was Andor and K2SO that explained how they met, and it's completely different from what we saw.
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned this a long time ago on the pod, but comics and books, in my opinion, you're only canon until live action says you're not.
Then you're kind of not canon, though. If you can get overwritten, and so far it hasn't been that big of a deal. Usually it's little minor things. Yeah, I feel like this is the first major-ish thing. But
in my opinion, if it's something big enough to make a live action Star Wars show, I feel like it's okay to just write over it and just to skip it.
So I don't disagree. I feel like,
because I would hate for them to say, Tony Gilroy, that's an excellent idea, but we got this comic book that we did a one shot of, and you got to write around it.
But was it an excellent idea? He literally is like, first of all, See, I feel like I'm picking this apart. I feel like I'm one of those guys no, it sucks, and let me tell you all the reasons why. Because I don't think it sucks.
I mean, the scrapped episode would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing, but let's talk about the K2 security droids on how they're invulnerable until they're not. Like, you see them take shots point blank to the chest, whatever. They shrug them off. They're throwing people left and right, no problem. And then we went straight into watching Rogue One, and K2 goes down. Like, Jin shoots a security droid, just boom, and he just crawls, and K2 goes, did you know that wasn't me? Like,
oh, yeah. Wasn't that with a big cannon, though?
No, it was with a normal stormtrooper blaster.
Oh, maybe I got to rewatch it.
It was we just watched it right afterwards, and I'm like, hold on. Like, we just saw K2 get shot with, like, stormtrooper blasters. No problems. Mm-hmm. And then it seems like in Rogue One, that would have been an issue. Maybe when they rebuilt him, they didn't rebuild him strong enough. But that was an Imperial one that went down. So it should have been just as strong, you know? So it's just one of those things, like, how tough are these security droids? Do they get taken down in a shot, or can they tank shots without getting too much damage? Again, it's just little stuff like that. It's the rule of the story. Mm-hmm. Like a character has plot armor until they don't need to have the plot armor anymore. And that's kind of what K2 is. Like, he got destroyed. They rebuilt him. But like, it seems like they literally just did that because they knew they had to get K2 in the story. Like, you know, to me, that's all I saw was, okay, this is how they get K2. Cassian randomly is like, hey, this droid seemed pretty tough. I'm gonna take him for some reason. He's never done that before. He's never done that. He just was like, this time he's like, I like this droid for some reason. I'm gonna take him. You know?
Yeah, I think you just witnessed him, like, all the K2 droids just throwing people around. It was like, if we can grab it, might as well.
I get it, but like, I just feel like there wasn't much thought into it other than we've got to get K2 into the show because K2's in Rogue One.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of had to, though.
That's it. I just wish it was something better. I just wish it was something
like
bigger.
the scrapped episode. The scrapped episode would have been fantastic.
Would have been great. Yeah,
But
again,
I think Dan Gilroy said it would have been way too expensive.
Sure, but
Tony Gilroy
again,
told Dan Gilroy that they had to scrap it because of how expensive it would be and all that.
I don't want people to think I'm harping. Like, sure, I've got critiques of it, but this is why I like season 1 better than season 2. But I still like it. I'm not saying it sucks. I'm not saying it's poorly written. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I still like it. I just have, I feel like, legitimate issues with it that I wish were better. And Esteban says that Krennic tells Partagaz, I can't protect you. Again, that's true. And I was watching. I wasn't even like half watching it on my phone or whatever. I was watching it. I just wish that they had just one more scene or one more line of dialogue or something that telegraphed that a little bit more rather than just, hey, we need to do something with Partagaz. Yeah. It's like they had a list of characters that they created and they're like, we have to explain why these characters aren't here anymore. you know, and then like Luthen made sense. I liked how that ended up. I thought that whole scene was cool. I thought how...
You know what I thought about Luthen whenever he got shot?
Yeah. He didn't get shot. He got stabbed.
Oh, yeah, when he stabbed himself?
Yeah.
I said, he would have guaranteed to be alive if he stabbed himself with a lightsaber instead, because that's what he says. So, but you stab yourself with a knife, and then you're done. But a lightsaber,
well, that's how
you can come back.
That's how that one guy, that's how that Jedi, what's-her-face dies in Acolyte. She gets a knife to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, in the first episode.
Yep.
So the Gorman massacre with Cyril's death. How did you feel about Cyril's death?
I thought he was about to turn, and then he got shot in the head.
Same.
I legit thought, because you see the blaster drop. He's pointing it at Cassian.
Yep.
The blaster drops, and I'm like, for a split second, you're like, oh, is he going to turn? Does he realize he's on the wrong side? And then, boom, he doesn't even get the chance, which is sad, ultimately to think about. He could have been a rebel.
I loved that line. He's like, "Who are you?" Like for years,
he's been hunting him.
Cyril has only thought about Andor. Andor was like his driving force, losing his job, getting back in, trying to do all this stuff. Like luring Andor. Andor was everything. And Andor does not know who the fuck this guy is.
Am I crazy? Because I kind of feel bad for Deidre.
I don't feel bad for Deidre. I felt bad for Cyril. I think I did like Deidre's relationship with Cyril's mom. I like how she handled that. I loved Cyril, collapsing on the bed. We talked about that before. But at the end... I genuinely felt like I felt bad for Cyril because he wasn't in it. Yeah, he wasn't in it for the fascism. He was in it because he was doing what he thought was the right thing to do. Like he saw a wrong. He saw. That's how it started was Cassian killing those guys, and he's like, I'm going to make this guy get punished for killing someone. He saw that as like a righteous cause. Which put him on the Imperial side because he thought those were the good guys. That was the side of the law. That was who was going to help him. And then he realized that he's not on the right side. He was played by everyone.
Yeah, I guess with Deidre, I know she's like this super terrible, Nazi Imperial.
Oh, she 100% is.
But also, I guess it wasn't the ending I wanted. I think it's a great ending to the show for a character.
So was she on Narkina 5 or one of those?
She had to be. Yeah. It was the same little rooms they got to sleep in, and the same white and orange gear. And it only makes sense that it's kind of funny that she wants to work for the Empire, but now she's contributing to the biggest weapon.
Now she is.
Not in a way she thought she would be.
Right.
But I guess I liked the character of Deidre so much. I wanted her to continue on and be an Imperial officer, so that way maybe one day we can get her in something else.
I mean, she still can.
But it is true. But story-wise, I think it does. It's a good story to have her put in prison, especially that prison working on the Death Star.
Yep.
So she's still ultimately working on that, but just
she
like I said,
doesn't
not
die
in the way she wants to.
She doesn't die, so she 100% can still show up at some point in the future.
Yeah. But Krennic didn't seem too pleased with her, so I'm not sure.
No.
It would have to be some really high-ranking Imperial to pull her out, and
or after the I don't know how long she can survive in there. 5 years, how long from that point, from the Empire falls in 6 years, 5 years, because there's a year in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes. No, there's 3 years in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and then there's another year in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
It is crazy to think because from Andor and Rogue One, Return of the Jedi feels so far away,
but it's not.
But it's really not, only 4 or 5 years.
It's 4 or 5 years exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So, also kind of to that point, when you watch especially the latter seasons of Andor, and you see how hard life is for these people, specifically in the rebellion. It is kind of weird also in that same universe. They're about to get Luke freaking Skywalker, and just thinking about how easy life is for somebody with the Force. He can just pull a cup of, how amazing is it for those people that Luke just appears and he has all these Force abilities. It's almost weird that they're in the same universe, seeing how different it is for them two. But it's just kind of when I was watching it, I was like, oh, these people are about to get Luke freaking Skywalker in however, a year.
They're literally days away from it.
Yeah, and then it's just crazy how different they have to live because they just don't have the Force. You know? But
so the ending. Bix disappears. Bix leaves him, and then the ending. First of all,
the Cad Bane thing.
I was happy to see B2 back because he disappeared. He never made it off that first planet they were on, and I was like, dude, you can't do my boy like that. So I was super happy to see him back. I'm a little disappointed that he never really got to hang out with Andor much after that. It seems like. Because that's all he talked about. That's all he cared about. Already. Yeah, exactly. But again, it seems like I don't know if it was coincidence or planned, but they were like, okay, Cad Bane, secret love child that Cad Bane doesn't know about. Then at the end of Andor, guess what? Andor, secret love child that Andor doesn't know about. Really? You're giving us that same thing back to back? What's going on here?
Yeah, the kid thing was wild, so I guess the Andor name will live on.
I guess. I just don't know if it needs to,
Yeah, it was a weird way to end the series. I guess since we know Cassian dies, he has a son he'll never know, or a kid.
Which makes it sadder, kind of.
Yeah, it makes it more tragic.
It makes it more tragic. And I've seen people, say oh, that's... I saw someone say, "Oh, that's Poe." That's not Poe. We know who Poe's parents are. That's not Poe.
Until they change it in life.
They're not going to change it. They've got too much into there. They're not going to change it.
They're not going to change it until they do.
Until they do. No, that's not. Poe is not Andor's son. It's just not. Well, just like people were trying to say that Clea was really Leia in disguise. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. Just their names happen to be similar, but they're not even a similar age. And then I saw someone say that, Clea was Andor's sister. Because that's another thing. At the beginning of the show, they make you think that finding Andor's sister was a big deal. And then
they just drop it.
They just drop it. It's just gone. I guess there's a line in the first season where Mavra tells Andor that she died or whatever. I guess I missed that. I have to go back and rewatch it. But it wasn't until that little montage at the end where he has a dream about her, and I'm like, oh yeah, Andor. This whole started because Andor was looking for his sister. Whatever happened with that? Nothing. I guess he just doesn't care about finding his sister anymore or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard a clip of it was either Tony or Dan Gilroy, and they said since there were so many other returns and reunions they had to do for season 2, they didn't want to make another one, and then they ultimately decided it kind of means more if they don't meet up before he dies or something.
I guess.
So
it's just weird that it's like literally a plot point that doesn't go anywhere. Like it was so important in the beginning.
I think if they were able to do their 3 or 4 seasons or whatever, it's just probably something that got on the chopping block.
Sure.
What they had to cut out. Only given one more season. And unfortunately, Disney is just going to look at the viewership of it and say, "Oh, nobody's watching this." Nope. Yep.
No chance. Do you think that's true? Do you think people aren't watching it? I feel like people are watching it.
I mean, Andor season 1 numbers were pretty low compared.
They were, but I feel like it was one of those things that got momentum, like as it went on, like word of mouth kind of. Yeah. Like the first season of Game of Thrones, I feel like wasn't nearly as watched as like season 7 because it took that time to like build up into the juggernaut of Game of Thrones.
But also Andor has almost no mainstream like attention grabbing power.
That's true. But I feel like if it were one of the things that appeals to me.
If it were titled something about the rebellion, maybe more people would watch, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Like the viewership is, I guess, lower than because I'm pretty sure like the Ahsoka, like all the main stuff like Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Mandalorian. I'm pretty sure viewership for all those was really good, but season 1 of Andor, maybe that's
season 1 of Andor. Again, I feel like season 2 of Andor. I've seen a lot more people talk about season 2 than talked about season 1.
Maybe more people will watch it, at least for the Rogue One tie-in, like more mainstream.
I feel like in the last couple years, Rogue One has gained a lot in popularity.
And I've always loved Rogue One.
Sure, always same. But I feel like it's had just like people go Disney Star Wars sucks, and then there's an asterisk on it, and they go except for Rogue One, you know, and like season 1 of Mandalorian or whatever. But like I feel like that's been more and more of a thing. Anyways, like I said, I don't want to harp on it too much because I did really, really enjoy it. I loved all of it. I guess my problem with it is that that's it. That's it. That's the end. Like, you know, it hasn't been canceled. We only get 2 seasons. It's a 2-season show. And that's just we got what we got. And I'm happy for what we got, but I do wish that we got more of it.
Yeah. I understand. I get that. You ready to jump into the Hall of Fame and wrap this episode up?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so we are going to enter a Black Series figure into our Hall of Fame, which we do every episode. I think this will be number 28. So what's on the docket? What do we have? What do we have on that list of yours that makes sense to put in today? Last episode we did the Super Battle Droid.
We did Super Battle Droid. This is one that I have suggested before, and I'm going to suggest it again. And that is the Sith Trooper. I think it's about time. I think it's about time that we had something from the sequel trilogy on the board. And as far as figures and troopers go, it's a good one. It's got a lot of great details. It's got a lot of great, articulation. It's got one of the first figures that had butterfly joints and rubber shoulders.
I'm trying to think which one I'm going to nominate here. Let's see. What if I nominate the Phase 2 Captain Rex?
Because I'd rather put the Phase 1 Captain Rex in there.
Yeah,
and I don't want 2 Captain Rexes in there.
Yeah, but the Phase 1 Captain Rex, there's almost no paint on it, you know. The Phase 2 one's just
you're not
just so good.
So you're not wrong, and it's probably past time for us to put it in there, even though it's on the older body. I feel like when that figure came out, it was a landmark figure. It had incredible articulation despite being on the older body. I mean, the really only flaw that it has is the hand that can't hold its second weapon. That's the only flaw that it's got.
That is true. I mean, we could also do. I like Clone Command still saying Plo Koon. Wrecker.
I wouldn't put Plo Koon on there. He's
also just a
He's just a reuse of the Padawan body of the Padawan Obi-Wan. I would actually say
Rise of Skywalker. Clone Command's mentioned that one.
That's actually not if we're gonna put a sequel figure on there, that's not a bad one to put on there. But
I do really like the Sith Trooper as well. Like that's a figure I've always loved.
I would say instead of Rex, I would be okay with Bly.
Bly, he probably is the best Episode 3 movie clone we have.
Yeah, I think for me it's between Sith Trooper and Bly.
I think I'm gonna go Sith Trooper, even over Rex, because we have a new Rex.
All right,
which we can debate later on.
We can debate that later on. I just think it's time that we got something from the sequel trilogy, and
is
that
really
is
our first sequel one.
That's our first sequel one, and I think objectively, it's a good toy. It is a good toy. Trooper figure.
Hey, we have Admiral Akbar, even though he's the Episode 6 Akbar. He's in the sequel.
He's the Episode 6 one. That doesn't count.
Hey, we have R2-D2. He's technically in the sequels.
Doesn't count.
Does that not count?
Sequel specific. Like R2 can count for everything. Chewbacca doesn't count either. It's not a sequel. That's specifically an Empire Strikes Back Chewbacca.
Yeah. You got a point.
And eventually we are going to get multiple versions of the same character in the Hall of Fame, because I'm assuming in a year or two we'll put that new Chewbacca in there because it's going to be so great. It's going to be figure of the year. So,
yeah, we'll have the new A New Hope Leia in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll have a couple Han Solos, I'm sure, a couple Lukes. We'll have an Anakin, hopefully, at some point in the Hall of Fame. Obi-Wan.
Are you gonna subvert the rules, overrule the rules, and just be like, Anakin goes in now? Honestly, Hall of Fame, day one, Hall of Fame.
If they absolutely crush it,
yeah.
If they absolutely crush it, and it's got to be probably a dark side version also, because it has extra like the eye paint to make the eye paint good. If they absolutely crush it, I'll try to convince you to break a rule. But I do want to stick to our guns about.
Yeah. It has to be out for a year.
About the year.
Yeah.
Because then if we do one, we're going to be like,
well, we've already broken it for this. Why not break it again? I do think Anakin's special because you specifically have been talking about him for so long. If there is one figure that could break the rule, we bent the rule a little bit with the Super Battle Droid. We bent it just a little bit.
That one makes sense, though.
I agree.
That one.
No, I agree.
But maybe here's what I'm predicting. If they do I'm assuming first they're just going to do a normal Episode 3 Anakin.
Sure.
So if that comes out in July, say, or whenever, this summer, if they come out with a dark side version, I'll put the dark side in whenever the year of the normal one, because it's just going to be a head, paint on a different facial expression and then eyes.
So it's going to be a year for the mold, not necessarily a specific version of the figure.
Sometimes. We'll bend it when it's convenient.
Okay.
Hey, Hey, you're the one that bent it in the first place.
I did.
So.
I did. I bent it. But not even by much. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You heat it back up. It bends back. It's fine.
That's true.
Anyway, so Sith Trooper.
That's a good figure. I like.
All right.
I think it's easily the best sequel trooper because all the ones from Force Awakens are bad by today's standards.
Okay, so it's either going to be a Sith Trooper or I can't remember his name. The gold one.
The one that I threw across the street.
The one that you threw across the street. I have an extra one of those too. I didn't even realize it when I was packing up my figures. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got another one of this guy in a box.
Yeah, his name's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. I know.
Is it
somewhere in the
weird?
comments? I'll know.
It's so weird.
Pyre.
It's Pyre. It's Pyre.
Commander Pyre. Yeah.
Commander Pyre. That's it. Commander Pyre.
I mean, he's good too, but I just like the red better.
No, I think the red's better.
And plus the sculpting on the helmet, like the grooves on the sort of the cheekbones or whatever, or the not cheekbones, but the cheek area.
I am gonna put Commander Pyre on my list though.
Okay, all right. Also, I think one of those the Jedi Legend Obi-Wan or one of those Obi-Wans is going to make it at some point. Probably the Jedi Legend one, even though the arms kind of bother me, but I feel like it's still an incredible figure.
Yeah. We'll come to that when we come to it.
Yeah. But I think that's going to do it for episode 96 of Black Series Cantina. Thank you so much, especially to all you who have been listening since the beginning. We know we have a lot of long-standing listeners, and even those of you who are listening to us and have been listening to us since episode 40, maybe episode 65, maybe episode 80. Maybe this is your first time listening to us. So just in case, Mike, how about you give our listeners, tell them where they can find you across the socials and what you got going on YouTube maybe. I know you're moving, so YouTube probably pretty slow, but let me know what you got going on.
So for the people watching, will notice that I just have a bunch of mostly empty shelves behind me because I am in the process of moving. I will be moving. There might be an episode that we do on here that we'll either take a break for, or I won't be on it because I will be in the process of moving. But I do have a YouTube channel that I normally do post somewhat on, but I've been taking a break because moving has taken priority. But that's just my name, Mike Case. You can see I do Black Series reviews. I do just general live stream stuff and whatnot. I'm also on Instagram, Mike.Case. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on TikTok, Mike Case 82. So if you want to see more or hear more of me, you can do that. I'm also regularly on Secret Galaxy's channel. They do unannounced live streams that stream on Saturday nights. Most Saturday nights we do it. Not every Saturday night, but most Saturday night. I'm on there with Dan Larson and his wife Kate, and we have a good chat for usually about an hour to an hour and a half. It's a good time.
Awesome. You can follow me on Instagram. I run the Black Series Cantina page. Follow me on TikTok as well at the Star Wars Black Series. I'm at 26,500 followers now, so we're making the push to 27. So go follow me over there if you haven't. Also, if you're a fan of Tommy from Blitz Transmissions, me and him are going live on TikTok now. We did our first one yesterday, and we went for about an hour, and it was an awesome time. We were just chatting about figures we have, figures we've gotten lately, showing off our collections, talking about ICCCon coming up. But, those aren't scheduled. We're just kind of doing them sporadically. But go follow me, and then make sure you have notifications on, so that way you get the ping whenever we do go live. Always a good time talking to him. For the podcast, if you want to support us in a financial way, please go to patreon.com/Black Series Cantina. You can join us live at the 1138 tier, or even come on a show with us at the VIP tier. And there's one above that where you get your own show with us once a month. If you cannot support us financially, we also appreciate if you leave a like. Anything on social media helps us out. Also, leave a review on Apple or Spotify. That really helps us out as well. We do have a merch store, brand new. It's on Spreadshop, so I think it's something like my.spreadshop.com/Black Series Cantina. It's in, all my link trees on the socials. I really love the new hat. I have 2 new hats. We have a couple new alternate logos for the episode 3 anniversary, since I'm so hyped about that. Follow us on Twitter at TBS Cantina. More importantly, join our Facebook group. That's Black Series Cantina. That's where we update about the show for the most part. And then anytime we're going live, or I'll post links in there as well, and just good conversations, people posting their collections and stuff. And then keep the email segment alive. I want a lot of emails about Andor, about predictions for like whatever you think is going to be the next big Star Wars show to be revealed. Just any thoughts you have on upcoming figures or anything, a question for us, blackseriescantina at gmail.com. And we'll see you in a couple weeks for episode 97.
Bye.